There's
God.
always imminent danger.
There is always imminent danger. That is true. Welcome back to the Unfortunate Sons, session 37 in Apex Standard Part 4, and hopefully the end of the first part of this long mission Zebril has sent the party out on to survive and grow. Last time we left off, we came back to poor Kez being held up and hung up in a tree for a month of slow digestion and biting, pedaling, and any other things that the spine snappers tried to do as they kept him tied and unconscious. Thankfully, with the help of the party and their tracking abilities, they would manage to find Kez after missing session and finding him amongst a couple of trees in a nice tropical swamp. Though the party would quickly realize that this was a trap, taking quick note, they decide to focus most of their fire and attacking power against the spine springers that would drop down from the tree across the way from Kez, leaving Kez for the most part to try and fight for himself as best he could. As the fight would go on, the party would manage to make quick work for the most part of the creatures. Though a few rocks thrown, some spell force used, and a lot of disintegrating, the party would manage to get the creatures down, even finding a larger alpha of the lot that had managed to keep Kez as almost a personal trophy. As the party managed to go or get Kez kind of untied and freed from the fight, the party kind of got themselves set up, organized, and started gathering up the few supplies from the other corpse and the other corpse they had found and the bodies of the beasts. Making quick work to set up camp and begin dissecting and working away, the party in their downtime began to split up their time from there, with Eider, Dom, Kez, and Ned being carried in the forge demi-plane, if you will, of Eider. As the party would work, Dom working away at a few items of their own, Ned changing his staff and slowly over the month turning to a bright blue hair and almost being covered head to toe in the stuff, as well as smelling quite sweet, surprisingly for the first time, allowing for the entirety of the forge to actually have a almost a filter of love-like scent to it. Eider and Kez would work away at trying to get the gemstone that they had been handed to try it to be put into the shield that Eider carried in hopes of repelling these deep crystals that they had learned the enemy could potentially have. As the party comes back from their downtime, another 5 weeks of actions done, we return back, 4 weeks. No, it is 5 weeks. Yeah, it is. Okay, never mind. We return back from 5 weeks of downtime as the party reaches the northern end of the island. It is the evening around sunset of the 24th of the Silence, that is December, the year 65,008. And it's a nice and chilly 70 degrees out with a cold wind of almost 80 degrees humidity. As you feel the demi-plane spell kind of set down, as Scartsmander kind of begins to set up camp, relaxing and kind of cracking his back as the door to the forge opens once more. The rest of you lot have pretty much spent your entire time inside this forge, saving on food and drink to avoid any sort of situation. As we return back, though, as Scartsmander starts setting up camp, you lot are welcome to do as you wish. What would you like to do? Yes, the great image. For those who need an image for Ned, imagine Baka, but with a lot more blue hair.
Oh, no.
And we're not talking, to be very clear, we're not talking like dark blue or like some normal blue. No, this is like bright, vibrant. I dyed my hair as a rebellious stage for my parents' blue.
He's gone full My Chemical Romance.
Ned, any new pronouns we need to know about?
Huh?
That was a canon.
I will say, the only bit of hair that Ned doesn't seem to have this neon blue is you notice the bit of hair that's grown around his face, almost as a sort of beard slash fur like material, is a slight bronzish color and seems to a bit of a fiery tip to it. Otherwise, the rest seems to keep that bright blue coloration.
Ned, is this something you wanted to happen, or is this something we need to help you fix?
I think it's something that's supposed to happen, and I kind of like look over at Eider. It didn't happen until I changed this, and I hold up the new staff.
I just kind of like looks like a little sheepish, like kind of nods and says, yeah. Turns out, probably shouldn't mess with probably shouldn't mess that much with druidic magic. It'll help you change partially, but it will affect your body.
Well, I mean, at least I can't stop smelling myself, and he'll like do a pit check.
As you take a breath in, you smell lovely, Ned. But as you haven't had to shower in almost a month or bathe, and you still smell fantastic.
I will say it is a marked improvement.
Well, welcome to the
It doesn't
club
even go away when I get swamp ass, from what I can tell.
Ned like pulls on his britches and kind of like airs them out slightly.
I just like retreat into like the tent and start making like trillion gold ideas about like permanent deodorant.
Ida is suddenly inspired by Ned, and now he doesn't need to be an adventurer.
I will literally print money till the day I die.
As Ida kind of draws up a marketing plan to have Kez model the material, and then have Ned come in like, this is what you'd look like before, and then have Kez come out after, and this is what you'd look like with our product. But as you look over, the smell kind of catching each of your attention, it almost even covers up the smell of the campfire as it begins to blaze. Scartsmender kind of sets a few logs out, looking about, keeping his eyes out as he watches you lot and kind of smiles, trying to keep a laugh under as quiet as possible.
Oh no, I know that laugh. That means we're about to die.
Scartsmender just shakes his head as he looks at you and goes, no. Though we are in the Blues territory, I imagine they're watching us even now.
Yeah, probably.
Likely.
Is it the kind of thing where they could just get us at any point, or do we have time till we're at where we're supposed to be?
You lot are going ahead. I won't be going further than this, so I imagine if you don't show them any sense of hostility, they won't try and kill you. Although they may think that one of you is a woman and try and kidnap you, or maybe they'll think you're food and try to capture you to eat you. Goblins are a mysterious race.
Indeed.
How much farther ahead do we have to go?
Day's journey, 12 hours roughly. North of here, you'll find the castle itself. Every bit of the country will be filled with these creatures at this point. The only good thing is there should be less plant monsters as you head further and get closer to their territory.
Well, that's good at least.
As he looks at you lot and goes, or you could always take your chances and go during the day. You might spot them better, and your guide might be able to assist you. The one you brought, of course.
You?
Kind of looks at you and goes, no, the Triton that's been following us for days.
Whom?
The
What the hell?
There's a deep folk that has been keeping track of you lot, staying off about quarter mile from us, watching
How long? Since we got here?
since we left the cave, if I recall correctly.
Oh, that can't be good. No, we are not affiliated.
Well, he shows no aggression and he's not a threat to us, otherwise I imagine Lord Z would have done something about it, so I assumed he was just your associate. You surfacers tend to travel in packs, as I see.
I mean, yes, but usually we tend to interact with the people we travel with.
I just assumed the pretty one and his godly magic was requesting it as a servant or something, but I'm happy to flag him down and bring him over here. He's got another group of 4 others, I believe, that are hiding in the forest a few miles down towards the beach.
How many people are following us?
Approximately
How many?
5 individuals actively, 1 who's watching us.
What the hell?
Well, you know of the one that's watching us. He's the one who sent you on this mission.
No, I'm just very confused why they're following us.
So what I asked
that
you.
Who knows? It could be who we are, bounty. It could be the mark. It could be because we're just here. I'll be honest. I don't fully know. Point is, they're not with us. We didn't ask for anyone to follow us at a distance. They're potentially a threat to our safety and yours as well if they deem you with us.
I don't think they're probably a threat to their safety, to be real.
Well, I don't know. He knows who they are. I don't know how strong these people are. They could be weak. They could be strong.
What's it to hide when you're strong?
Some of the people who have followed us in the past have been, you know, quite a problem. Need I mention a certain figure who was sent to Moors and apparently isn't there anymore?
Ah, you mean that Jakix fellow?
Yes.
Zebril has confirmed he is currently in the Snowbeard lands at this time. The understanding is he's currently involved with Uthgarum.
Yeah, so considering...
Well, sounds like my cousin's problem.
Your cousin is that James of the Ironheart?
Yes.
You are correct. His party, as from my understanding on the reports we've been getting, is heading, I believe, to the Snowbeard lands as we speak.
Sounds about right.
But...
Well, I mean, if this guy doesn't bear us any ill will, might as well meet the fella.
Yeah, I'd rather flag them down, figure out who on earth has been following us, and, well, beat the shit out of them if we're going to, and if not, figure out what the hell they're doing.
I agree.
I will note, attacking any individuals on the island that you're not supposed to will be an offense to Lord Zebril, so please do keep that in mind. Parlaying is always an active recommendation when you're meeting individuals strong enough to find this island.
Oh, trust me, that was plan A.
Yes, if they do not attack us, we will be fine.
Alright. Allow me a moment to deal with this as he kind of like starts to step into the shadows, vanishing out of sight.
Oh, it's always something else. Every day I think, I know what's going to happen. It will be simple. Point A to point B. It's never is.
Yeah, that's a pretty accurate statement.
So do you think they're after your bounty? Because if so, we may need to disguise you somehow.
No.
Okay.
If they are, then, quite frankly, this is the worst place possible for them to have chosen.
We might have to worry about that after leaving this place, though. I without Lord Zeveril's protection, I fear the bounty is going to pose serious issues on other continents.
So I have the suit. They have the bounty out based off of my description with the armor.
By the way, Kez, give me a wisdom check if you wouldn't mind.
I can certainly do that for you. Where are my dice? There they are.
Man's suddenly ordering ice cream. Give him a minute.
Uh, 24.
24. Okay. I'll keep that in mind. Alright, as you four kind of sit there, I will say as the dark sun kind of sets, the last of the light kind of dissipating from the sky as it kind of gives a last bit of purple, a kind of gleam over the skies before the sunset, before the sun completely sets, leaving you with nothing but the campfire to kind of light the way around you. So you all kind of sit there waiting for Scartsmender to return. Kez, as you're kind of looking over as Eider and Dom are kind of having a conversation back and forth, as you kind of keep your eye on a swivel looking about, you notice Ned's giving off a lot of magical, an almost divine aura as you start to sense. Feels like you're sitting next to another cleric almost, to the point that it's almost that you can see this in the air, which is strange as you've never had before.
I really don't know what to make of this. Hey Ned,
Yeah?
have you made any deals with deities as of late?
Not that I'm aware of.
Well, all right, I trust you.
I love
You just have an air of. Nah, never mind.
As you look again, Kez, it almost seems to vanish as you kind of stare at Ned for a little bit longer, almost as if the noticing and bringing it up seems to have caught the attention of whatever or whomever Ned is sworn something to, or is sworn to.
Mother Nature. You know what? Let's just. Hey, you know what? It didn't happen. I'm seeing things. The force is a weird place.
As you kind of sit there, kind of continuing the conversation, you see as Scartsmender comes through the forest and sits down on one of the logs, wipes away some twigs, and kind of kicks them into the fire and looks up at you lot and goes, "Well, it looks like this fella's name is Raider. Speaks a strange tongue. Says he knows you lot. I mentioned I would make sure that you lot knew of him before I brought him closer."
He
Not
knows us?
familiar with that name.
Don't know that name. Interesting, as he nods and goes, "He seemed to know all of you almost by heart. Knew of your experiences in Utham's territories. Spoke of your tragedy, if you will, of a life, which, by the way, you lot really do live up to your reputation.
Oh yeah, no, it's a bit of a problem.
A god chased you, like, that's an impressive factor. I haven't heard of someone so
It is
doomed."
quite unfortunate.
Still technically after at least two of us.
He also mentioned one of you was not dark-skinned beforehand, as he kind of looks about at the four of you and kind of goes down the line and goes,
Yeah.
"I don't know what that means, I'm going to be honest with you."
Okay. So this guy either has spoken to a lot of people about us or has been following us for over a year now. Wonderful news.
Good news is, I think he's harmless, as he wasn't armed with a weapon. In fact, all he was wearing was normal merchant's clothing.
Did you ascertain if he was magical in nature?
Youngin, every thing out here is magical. You can't come onto an island like this and survive if you don't have some sort of magical capabilities.
I looked down at me with just all my items.
Exactly, magical capabilities, as he nods.
Ah, okay. Yes, I follow now. What do we think? We just invite him over to talk? I feel like we need some kind of answers. And I like Dom addresses the party.
Yep. I didn't think the plan had changed there.
I'm a little unnerved, but
Well, I will
Another
mention
ally is another ally.
His
I-
assistance may be prevalent to you, but I will also note that it does not seem that Lord Zibril seemed interested in allowing you two to meet. Otherwise, I imagine he would have set you two off together as a group.
I mean, if he's not gonna get mad at us for meeting,
No, but it is something to keep in mind.
Perhaps it was for our own safety. But, might be a little late for that if he's following us here. I don't like the idea of someone unknown at our backs when we're entering battle.
yeah, just kind of nod. That's more or less my thought.
He nods and looks about the four of you and goes, "Alright, if you need, I will grab him and bring him in, but if he kills one of you, well, Lord Zebra will probably at least enjoy the viewing."
Probably.
Scartsmender stands back up, cracking his back as he kind of does, and then turns and starts walking back into the forest. Oh, and by the way, the Blues have already noticed you lot, and I think they're planning to use their name as a joke for you here in a minute.
Oh no, are they going to paint us?
Oh, well,
I love the Blue Man Group.
Kenneth, do you say that out loud?
No.
Okay, cool. Eider, give me a will save.
I was gonna say, are we worried about the blue or are we worried about the Mind Goblin part? Because that might be what's happening.
Well, what'd you get?
Is it a magic or spell-like effect?
This is not a spell-like effect, nor is it arcane magic.
I was just asking if it had the roll spell resistance.
No spell resistance for it, because this is psionics.
Yeah, but Psionics still have to do the unless we're not doing the unified thing.
No, I'm not, because I'm setting those two as two separate specifically for a reason.
Gotcha. Okay, I'll have to change my stuff up later because we had been operating with the spell resistance working on Psionics like before.
I'll double check that, but no, I don't think so.
14 total.
Okay, you do meet DC. As you feel something almost try to push through your head, almost a headache rushing through as pain goes across your mind, it seems to dissipate just as quickly as it hits, thankfully, as you feel that almost as soon as Scartsbender leaves or vanishes out of sight.
Yeah, like whip around and start looking for a sign of whatever.
Give me a spot or search check in this case. If you want, if you're looking for the creature specifically, I'll take search. But if you're looking for anything, spot will work.
I'll do search.
Okay.
That's flat 10, so that's probably not working.
As you look about, kind of keeping your eyes out across the shrubbery, you do not see any creatures that catch your attention. The forest is almost quiet as the rest of you see Eider's head kind of suddenly turn about and look behind him as he kind of scans the forest in the tree line.
Can I scan with him?
Sure.
Yeah.
Give me a search or well, in this case for the rest of you, give me spot checks because unless
Can I do search?
You looking for just the blues? Sure, I'll take a search from you.
But yeah, since the guy just said something about him.
Okay. Yeah.
You said,
I imagine it's moving.
Search
said
your spot.
spot?
Yep, search your spot unless you have search if you want to specifically look for the creature or the blue or spot for general.
I
16
still have the mask
for
on, by the
spot.
way.
Okay, 16. Ned's got his mask still on, taped to his head. 21. All right.
Holy shit. 29.
Nice.
Nat
As
20. Once again on a roll that won't really matter.
Hey, Mike!
as the three of you look into the trees, all three of you give me will saves.
Yep. Hey, buddy, you want to give me another nat 20 real quick? Motherfucker.
17.
19.
Not one for a 9.
All right.
Oh,
You st-
Ned.
This will
you
be
said-
just for
Can I roll
Ned,
good?
Kez, and Dom in this case.
Oh, okay. I was curious because you said all 3. I was like, which one do you mean by that?
No worries.
That'll be a 19.
19. Okay. And Dom, what'd you get?
19 as well.
19. As as Dom and Ned or Dom and Kaz look out into the forest, you start to notice the trees aren't moving, nor is that the wind. There's a creature standing in front of the bark of the tree, swaying back and forth on its legs and making whooshing sounds with its mouth. As you just stare at the creature, as it just looks at you dead in the eyes, as if you can't see it, it starts to wave its hands and fingers at you, like as if trying to make a gag of it. That, like as it flutters them in the air, creature just stares at you. So you watch 1, 2, and then start to notice there's about 10 of these creatures scattered about the tree lines.
Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave.
They don't think we see them. Should we make it known that we see them?
As Ned and Ida look on, seeing nothing and still hearing the winds whooshing through the trees as they kind of continue to blow. A cold breeze kind of blowing onto your neck every once in a while.
Well,
The hell are you two talking about?
1 second, Ned. Just give us a second. Wait, Dom. I mean, if you were a blue goblin and someone saw through your illusion, what would you do?
I realized I'd lost the opportunity of surprise and would use my numbers to ambush them right away.
All right. And if they didn't notice you?
If I'm having fun, like these creatures seem to be doing, I would wait and see, maybe get more information before stabbing them in the back. So either way, I think we're going fucking jump, but should we wait for Scartsmander and the guy to maybe return, or do you want to do this now?
You know what? Maybe we see how this plays out. I'm
Yeah,
curious.
okay. Maybe we whisper to our allies that there are creatures, but to act like there aren't creatures.
I'm
Just
worried
so the
that Ned's
party's
gonna
not
say
caught
something out
unaware.
loud, though.
What was that? Sorry, I
I'm
didn't
worried.
catch that.
Listen, I'm worried that Ned will say something out loud.
Okay, then we can whisper to Iter then.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah,
Iter,
much agreed.
your shoe's untied. Let me crouch down to your level to get that.
Dom, give me a perform. Do you perform actor by chance?
I have performance. I have a skill.
Yeah,
Can it?
let's see what you got. Roll me let's see how convincing you make this look, because they
I
can't
don't
hear
know
you
that
from
it's-
this distance, so they're just
It's
seeing
not
you
my
move.
highest skill, but yeah, I can roll it. Oh my god. This is
I was
DM.
also thinking of doing a bluff like there are not multiple goblins surrounding us.
Right.
Hey, DM.
My
Yeah,
jaw's
what's up?
higher than my act, so
From
I
Ned's
should've done
perspective,
Mm-hmm.
does Iter even have shoelaces?
No.
that. No.
No, he's wearing metal boots that have dragon
Yeah,
scales on
I
them.
don't
Well,
think she was
actually-
I
even
am-
invented.
to be fair, with his pimp outfit out, they would not be laced. They would just look like fancy laceless dress shoes.
Yeah,
like
so
loafers.
either way.
Mhm.
Huh, let
I'm
me get your
backing
buckle
away from
really
Dom
quick.
and Kez just nervously.
Okay.
Oh no, Iter, a penny has fallen out of your penny loafers. Let me get that for you.
What'd you
Is
get,
there any
Dom?
way
Like
I
some
could,
pity.
get a help action? from
No,
them?
no. Let's see what you got, Dom.
So I've got a total of 5 because I rolled really bad.
As Dom leans down, to the rest of you who
Don't
can
even go for
see
shoes.
Ider's shoes, Dom just leans down and starts to pull on Ider's shoes slightly as Ider lifts his leg up, basically trying to keep
This
his
man doesn't know
balance.
how shoelaces work.
Ider looking down and not having shoelaces, realizing this as he stares
There are
at
10 of
Dom.
them in the trees.
Alright, hopefully the goblins are distracted by watching Dom make a fool of himself. I'd like to convey
Yeah.
the information to Iter.
Alright, as Ned backs away about 10 feet from the group and is standing on just the edge of the light line from the fire. Alright, Kez, what are you gonna say, and how are you gonna say? Are you just gonna whisper it over to him while Dom picks up Ider's leg and basically is lifting him halfway up?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Iter, I think they've lost their minds.
Good.
Yeah, starting to agree.
Finally
What you got, Kez?
Yeah, man. Let's just say either there's
There are people in the trees.
Hey, you know what? If you think that, and I wink, that could be something to think about. Wink, 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 wink.
as Dom's like tugging on your
Kez-
leg, like, oh,
Kez,
wow,
give me a
there's
charisma
there's
check.
So many.
Kaz,
Yeah.
why do you just keep blinking at Eider like that?
I just look at my fucking two companions, one of which is having a stroke, and the
Uh-huh.
other one that seems to be suffering from late onset cerebral palsy. I don't.
17.
Ned
Mental
and
breakdown.
Eider and Dom. Kez is smooth as butter. Eider, he sounds like he's trying to talk you up at a bar. You are both uncomfortable and slightly comfortable with this, as you know. Hey, it may not be your thing, but you gotta appreciate the compliment. Kez delivers this. You see as Kez kind of blinks, and as you kind of follow his eye lines as well, looking to where he's looking, you start to notice something seemingly moving, and start to notice there is something sitting there, just blowing out wind out of its mouth and making whooshing sounds as it seems to stare at you.
It's awfully windy today.
Yeah. Thankfully, it's not very moist out.
Are you able? So, Ida, are you able to see the beauty of our current landscape?
Indeed.
Okay, I drop his foot.
Eider,
Once Dom has realized.
Eider, give me a balance
I
check.
look over his feet.
A balance check.
I did this to James all
Yes,
yesterday.
like,
Give me a balance check.
Make like a check for.
If it makes you feel any better. Yeah, your cousin got knocked over by an old man, so don't worry, you got this.
I have boots of landing.
Did they give?
You always land on
You
your
have
feet.
like
Oh,
gravity.
wait, really? Do you actually? Do you really? Is that what? Are you running your fucking? Oh, god damn it. Okay. Yeah. As you catch yourself, kind of as your foot is put down, straightening yourself out, as you have set yourself on the log. The rest, Ned's still standing at the edge of the firelight as Dom takes and Kez kind of take their seats back down. Kez very smoothly and calmly. Dom a little bit more awkwardly as they seem to get up and climb back over
Dom's
towards it.
Very clearly prepping for battle, but trying to be subtle about it. Just like checking his gauntlets and checking his poisons in his bag of holding, like taking inventory.
I want to get try and take stock of like what kind of equipment that these fuckers have, and like a makeup of what seems to be either a scouting or attack squad. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Give me an appraise check. We'll call it. Make it real easy for you.
Well, for their equipment, can I do like a craft?
I'll take a profession craftsman if you have something in mind.
Oh, like armor and weaponsmithing.
Yeah, sure, I'll take it.
He's judging the quality of their gear.
Yeah, I'll take a craft
well,
armorsmith.
Well, that's a nat 20 for what is that? 36 or 46, depending on if the tongs get bonus applied.
Tongs, I believe, are only specifically when you're crafting. Like an item. I don't think it would count in this case for like looking at the gear.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
So, 36.
Oh, it makes a major difference here. The Dwarven Judgment is coming out. It truly is. As Eider just starts to kind of stroke his beard, appraising the armor, looking at the trees up and down from Ned's perspective, as Eider just seems obsessed with this tree for a moment as he looks at it. As you see this, Eider, looking the blue goblin up and down, the creature is not seemingly wearing what looks to be any physical armor. What looks to be just simple leather gear, like clothing, not thick enough to even take an arrow. As you kind of watch, Looking at the individual, they seem to carry what looks to be a small dagger on their belt, as well as what looks to be a a small short bow and some arrows on their back. As you kind of look it up and down, you do notice the arrows are each tipped with what looks to be deep crystals. So you kind of look about. The creature does glow slightly, telling you that there's some sort of effect on it, but you're not sure what. It looks almost similar to a mage armor that you've seen before, but you're not sure if it's the same equivalent. But it does definitely look like he's got some sort of defensive magic up that you're just never seen before. Beyond that, the creature does bear a mark on its chest on the leathers. You do all know, everyone but Ned notice what looks to be a painted blue kraken on a yellow background. Which tells you, yes, this is roughly from your guesstimation, probably a scouting or a capable patrol.
Gotcha. For the others in the trees, are they like similarly kitted out? Or
All
do
the
they
ones
have
that
any-
you, all 10 that you can see. Yep.
Okay. There's like kind of like start like idly like fiddling in the dirt, like drawing stuff out, and just kind of like motion to like Ned and Kez and be like, so I was thinking, or not Ned, but Dom and Kez. I like finish drawing and then like motion Ned over so I didn't get confused.
Mm-hmm.
You want us to come over and see your drawing? Is that what you're saying, love?
Yeah, basically. There's like out loud, just like say. So I was thinking, like, for like our mission, like going forward, and I just like start like drawing out like quick sketches of like. the
Yeah,
shit that
yeah, I'll
people
be right
have.
over there. Yeah, I'll come see it.
No, Dom will sit himself so his big figure blocks most of the creature's view, hopefully, and I'll look down at the drawings.
Okay. Ned?
Yeah, Ned keeps looking at the drawings, and then I imagine the direction of the tree where the drawing is trying to portray.
Uh-huh.
Just like trying to figure out what the fuck is going on.
As you look up, Ned
Ned.
kind of seeing where the depictions are, you start to notice the camouflage slowly begins to break as you start to see the creatures standing there, blowing hard, and a few of them making whooshing noises as they wave their arms and try to fan you.
Wow, it really is a windy night tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ned,
man. It's
we need to go over plans.
Yep.
Quick. Ned, we really want your input on these plans. I think it'd be important.
Can we see in Ned's eyes that he's finally figured it out?
They do seem to go a little bit more wide as he seems to like recognize and start like darting from tree to tree as he starts counting the creatures, seeing 10 of them.
Hey Ned,
He
we
just
might
like
need
starts
your,
scratching his arm where the fur is a little more.
Mm-hmm.
Ned, we might need your expertise. Why don't you come on over here for a second?
I think I'll do just that. We can even use this as a draw in the dirt, and I hold up my staff with the tooth.
Sounds
That's
awesome,
smart.
dude.
Yes, I agree.
You see the
That's
Arctic
such
Mane
right,
stick, or the tooth kind of pointing out of the bottom of the walking staff that Ned keeps with him.
So, Aether, what do you want? What part of the plan do you want to go over?
I was just thinking of, and I was just like cover like my mouth or my hand with my mouth, just like thinking pose as I'm like poking at the dirt, and it's like, all right, so these fuckers all have bows.
Yeah, I'm assuming they have Dom's doing the same like pose. Yeah, I'm assuming they have deep crystals on all
Correct.
of them.
Correct.
Yeah, my cloak might be able to protect me for a short period, but it won't protect me for long. I don't know what the others can do against ranged.
I don't know if my clothes will be able to perfectly protect against the elements of this forest.
Right. The upside is they should be quite fragile if they do decide to jump us.
Do we want to move forward with the initial plan of diplomacy, or do you think having an element of surprise, we kind of want to turn tables?
I would say potentially doing diplomacy, but I did feel a ache at the back of my head that was very painful whenever I tried to look over. I don't know if I resisted something offensive or if it's just something that's supposed to be like an illusion.
Hmm.
Do we have anything that can take care of densely packed things of foliage?
Dom reaches up to where his new eye patches, I forget if the party remembers that's there, and scratches at it, the one that matches Uther's. I have something that could maybe handle dense packs of foliage, but that's assuming the foliage, given the resistance of damage it has here on this island, would be susceptible to it. It is very specific. The plants here haven't been weak to fire such far. But it is certainly an option.
You hear one of the blues from the forest go, "Why are they all speaking in giant?" As another one goes,
What?
"I don't know what giant is."
What language are they speaking in?
They are speaking common.
Oh good. They don't. No, well, no. One of them recognizes giant. Okay, that's bad.
I think for a moment and say, well, there's going the nuclear option.
I don't know what
Yes,
that
there's always
word
that option.
means.
It's like a constant mass of horrible nonsense.
Yeah, I've learned what Eitherd means something big and powerful.
Nuclear, huh?
I don't mean like actually like killing them outright, but I could. Their minds are likely strong, but they probably will be susceptible to it. So I might be able to, paralyze them and then take one hostage for a small amount of time while we have a discussion.
You hear the got blues go again. "Why is the small one giving all the orders?" Another response. "I think the blue hairy one likes me. He keeps giving me the eyes."
Ned, stop looking at them.
Ned, what are you doing?
There's a bird over there.
Stop looking at
As you
them.
look over, you see a gemstone bird on the tree just kind of cooing away as it sits there, kind of slightly snoring.
Okay.
Oh, shit,
Oh, that
there
actually
was
is
a
a
bird
pretty
over there.
neat.
Yeah.
That's a pretty neat looking bird.
Same
Actually.
idea, owner. Actually, it's kind of a cool bird.
Huh.
Ned,
Anyway,
focus on the plan.
okay, but don't we want to, go in peacefully?
Well, it is peaceful. We're just denying them the option of pulling the ripcord on conflict.
They are watching us but not attacking, which means either they're waiting to attack or they could be open to peace, but I don't know how much I trust them not to attack us when we reveal our hand.
I mean, if they were open for peace, they might have just come out and said something about it.
Yep.
Right.
That's why I plan on trying to take a hostage first and talk our way into a negotiation from a position of strength.
You hear the blues continue once more as one goes, "I think they're too stupid to speak the common tongue." The other one seems to reply, "I agree. Get the crystals ready."
I was just gonna stand up, stretch, say it coming. All right, I'm gonna go take a leak. I'll be right back.
Oh, do you want the... Never mind.
Eider looks at you.
Ned's eyes go wide looking at Dom.
Listen, I was gonna have Dom ask so we could both go together because I have long reach, I grapple him, and then I realized Dom would not make that joke. But I Steph would.
Man, it's like, hey, you need help, buddy, with that big mesh of slong of yours? I know it's hard to
Do you
hold.
want someone to cover your back, given the plants here are hostile while you tend to business?
I think it might
I
take
can-
a while.
Okay.
But
Are we
actually,
just
you know what?
conversing
Could
in
be
common now?
helpful.
Yeah, oh yeah, you want me to come with? Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
sure.
Hey,
Yes.
protect
hey,
our
Ned.
leader.
Look, do you want to pull out the deck of cards?
Absolutely, I was just about to ask.
Yeah!
Oh god, yeah, that
It's-
will stand up to.
I would
escort.
love for more people to play the game with us if there was anybody interested.
Oh yeah, this is a very fun game.
You hear one of the blues go, "You know what would be really funny?" And you hear another one go, "What?" The other one responds and goes, "We should wait till the night and put one of our decks of cards in theirs and see what happens."
Very evil.
You hear the others start to snicker and giggle in response.
And we pull out our deck of dried fish skins.
Oh god.
Yeah, I forgot
Ugh.
about
It's
that.
our-
Yeah.
It's
I-
our
The
go fish
numbers are
deck.
like carved in with a knife.
It's our go fish deck. Come on, guys.
Oh my.
As they start dealing, Dom, as you watch, as you realize that was on your barren chest at one point when you were unconscious.
Maybe don't have that out when the Triton comes to talk to us. Just an idea.
Maybe he'd like to play.
He might like to play too.
Oh. Ryder, let's go help you piss. Let's go.
As Eider's like halfway to the almost out of the line of the light from the fire as he turns and hears
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, no, I'm going
I
after.
just-
I'm going to keep
I just
watch.
look at Kez and go, I'm almost tempted to go to see what that looks like.
You know, honestly, I'm actually terrified.
Like a horrific shadow looming from a dwarven man who has more power than you ever knew. Eider walks in with the scariest looking individual standing behind him.
I have
black
guard
person.
dog privilege. I just
Oh.
go off because I look demonic.
God damn it. That's bad. As you kind of walk into the forest, are you trying to be quiet about this, or are you just kind of heading in?
I am wearing the heaviest armor known to man.
Yeah.
I gotta ask, James at one point tried to stealth, so you never know.
Hey Ned, do you think that Triton has different go fish rules?
Maybe when they get their set, they get to eat them. I don't know. I don't know why Dom told us not to play with them.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like sharing in our cultures is gonna be quite a boon to us.
In the
Yes.
distance.
You know, maybe our deck is way less scary than other people's.
Maybe.
And I'll just kind of look around.
In the distance, Raider looks at Scartsbender and goes, "Yeah, I wanted to show him this new deck of cards we found in a pirate ship recently. A little deck of cards of fish that are carved up, just made out of skin. All the rage." As we as we jump over to Eider and Dom, as you two walk into the forest, as you do, you notice the goblins begin to kind of follow you two, as about 4 of them kind of start to break off and continue to get closer. One getting so close to the point that they end up right behind Dom, within a 5-foot reach, blowing on their ankle just to make it feel like it's cold.
I think Dom's just like, I imagined facing out, so like obviously as if pretending Eider's about to go to the bathroom, is behind him facing the opposite direction, like as if he was keeping watch, sees them, does not look at them, feels it, and he's just like, the breeze almost reminds me of home. I have to admit, I almost miss how cold it was, and Reganutham's lands.
I don't know how you feel. I dart and try and reach for the goblin and use
Yeah.
the old person.
I
Give me a- oh.
to help him if needed.
Hold person. All right, that's a reflex save if I remember correctly. Right?
Sorry, I just realized the irony of this situation.
Yep. No, this is you're gonna hold something here.
The old person is a will save.
Oh wow. Oh, that's good. Okay. Wow. Oh, and of course now my rolls are against me. The goblin, fully thinking he has caught you off guard, comes up right behind your neck, and as you begin to pretend to unzip something, pulling what looks to be a little metal cord on the side of your hip, just slightly down. The goblin kind of leaning its neck over and starting to blow onto your face. You grab hold of its head as soon as you do, and then as the magic takes hold and letting it go, the magic holding it in place, the creature screeches and looks about, panicking as the rest begin to scatter and run into the forest.
Can I try to grab one as well, just like with my reach?
Yeah, let's see. We'll do
Just full
we'll call it a
Can I do it?
reflex.
Will it count as a grapple?
Yeah, we'll call it a grapple, but let's do a reflex to see if you can even catch this guy.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Oh yeah, now you do it.
Of course I choose the speediest motherfucker of the bunch.
The one blowing your ankles was not a fan of what he just saw happen. He knows what's gonna happen next and is gone.
He was so close that by the time my arm got down, he winded between the legs and scattered.
There's like a Looney Tunes fucking shadow
Yeah,
of this man.
exactly.
What'd you roll,
Damn
Dom?
it,
Let's
if
see
I was
how
a little shorter to the ground, I would have gotten him.
close you get, Dom. Let's see what you roll.
Oh, you want me to? What,
Yeah.
You want me to just roll, just like a grapple?
Just
grapple
reflex check.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. I mean, I don't know that I'll beat the nat 20, but I could, unless I also get a nat 20. Wait a second.
And it
That
fall
is gonna
then.
be big for me.
Yeah, then you follow the roll.
Fuck, it was a 19. 19 plus 8, so 26.
As you see, almost at the same time as Eider starts to flinch and begin to move to grab the creature, you catching the action and going to scoop down, you catch the creature's pants, almost tearing them clean off as the creature yips and runs straight out of his own leather breeches, sprinting off into the forest completely butt naked from the waist down as the rest of the others, kind of hearing the pant, begin to rush into the shrubs.
Should I chase after them or stay put?
Stay put. Don't follow
Okay.
people going to ground.
Ned, no.
I hold the pants idly and then like look at it and drop it like I don't want these.
As you kind of like let them go onto the ground after looking at them for a second, seeing no magical marks and realizing these are just crude pants,
Yeah.
and letting them go onto one of the bushes as you
I
walk away.
suggest you all think about what you're planning when you approach. Like, I'm just gonna say that in common as like kind of an intimidation tactic, since we've got one of their buddies hostage.
I am going to check something because I can't remember if Hold Person does what I think it does. Ah, fuck, it does. It was paralyzed. I was like, I thought the language too was a little different. Okay, never mind. I can't use the ability.
Yeah, you can do literally nothing that isn't mental.
Alright, as you kind of have him held now on kind of the whole person right on your shoulder, the body weighs nothing, as this creature seems only a few pounds over about 20 or so pounds roughly, as you kind of see the creature stepping out from underneath him as he's still held there. Ned and Kez in the background have still playing Go Fish as you two stand there.
Can I Oh, sorry.
What was that, Kez?
You got any fours?
I'm fresh out. I'm sorry, my friend.
Ned thinking about a horrible joke he swore he heard a moment ago still. But go ahead, Dom.
Can I, with an action, because Dom is anticipating the creatures coming back and they have a moment, can I use my Cloak of the War wizard to cast protection from arrows on my... I think it's required on myself, but just
yeah.
casting that. So Dom, like, kind of straightens up after dropping the pants, like, adjusts the cloak, and it emits, like, a light magical effect that I'm sure Eider can recognize as, like, a spell in it being used, and then stands up a little taller, and I'm still intentionally standing, so, like, I'm blocking, like, Eider from, like, if they're approaching us, like, I'm the first target they'll see.
Okay.
I'm sure his AC is so high it doesn't even matter, but, you know, Dom's trying to
Yeah.
be useful.
As Dom kind of lightly glitters under the moonlight, as the spell kind of takes effect, almost creating a small and almost translucent like armor around them. It almost looks like a mage armor as you stand there, a little bit more strong, a little bit sturdier though, thankfully looking as you stand over Eider, kind of blocking and watching the forest. Eider, the goblin's paralyzed. What are you gonna do with this poor thing?
Yeah, just like pat him like a little reassuringly and just start like tying him up.
Okay.
It's like, look, we're not going to hurt you. We need to talk to your people, and, you wouldn't trust you out in here. I know you wouldn't. So, and we don't. We just want to talk to you and your friends.
Give me a diplomacy check. As well as a use rope for the tying him up.
Well, use rope is a nat 1, so,
Ooh, well, yeah.
Do you need help?
To be fair,
Yeah,
he is
prepared.
paralyzed. So
in theory, I could take a net, or take 20 on it, but, yeah. My first attempt,
As-
not great.
as Eider's
Oh,
like
that's awful.
speaking and like loosely tying it, you watch as the rope goes around, but as he forgets to like tighten it, kind of trying to pat the the goblin on the back, trying to be friendly to the creature as he sees the panic, and it's as you watch as the rope slides off.
The total OC was a 19.
All right. As you say this, you do see the calmness a little bit as the creature stops like trying to struggle and pull on it. Although, as it looks on, the panic beginning to kind of relax as the creature like sits there and watches you. But you can still see a wariness as if this creature knows it's been caught and is prepared for whatever may come.
Paralyzation will last only for about another 20 seconds or so.
Creature kind of looks about. Dom, are you gonna try and retie this thing up?
Well, did Ida manage to get like a good knot on it?
He rolled a 1, so no. As you watch the rope fall to the ground.
Then yeah, I think Dom comes over, picks up the rope that just fell, and I think having tied a couple in the past in this campaign, will like go to make very sturdy knots, like specifically focusing on the hands and legs. Like he does not want this guy slipping out.
Give me a use rope check.
Certainly.
So we're gonna have to get Eider animate rope as a spell.
That would
Just a
be
toss.
17.
17. As you kind of explain the effect, Eider, you see as Dom kind of comes up behind, grabbing the rope off the ground quickly, and like basically starts hog tying the goblin. As the hands and legs are tied to each other, and kind of grabs hold of the rope in the center and like holds it to make sure that the creature won't fall.
Oh yeah, I've got experience. Should we start asking questions or wait till the rest of the group is here? I'd like to know their intentions in following us.
Let's bring him back to the camp. I just turn and call. It was like, we have your friend. We don't intend to harm him. If you want to talk, come to the camp.
You hear loud whooshing noises coming from the forest that seem
We
to
know
get
you're not
intense.
wind.
Dom just glares out at the forest shouting this.
Yeah, I do. Dom does a gesture like with his arms out, like, come on.
As the two of you with your new captive kind of start to walk back to the tree line, or through the tree line, so you come out seeing as Kez and Ned are in an intense game. Kez and Ned are both down to 2 cards each, as the pile of cards are just fully spent. Their pairs also. Good.
Do you have any goblins?
And yeah, and I place it right down. I was gonna make that joke. Remember, Dom walks over, drops the goblin the card game, and says, "Go fish."
This is goblins. What the fuck? Oh, hey, hi.
Do I win? I feel like this one's worth a lot.
Well, there's
I
not
feel like
exactly a
if
matching
you
card,
won
but,
just
you
now,
got it.
is still determined to be seen.
I mean,
And I'll,
listen,
look
last
around
time I
at the tree line.
this is a game of pairs. I don't see another goblin. I see just the one.
Oh,
Go
there's
fish.
several on the way.
As Kez looks at his cards for a second, looking to make sure none of them have a goblin on them by accident.
I wouldn't be
looks at you.
surprised.
But
It's custom cards.
as the blue
No,
looks...
we take that out. That's like the Joker.
Yeah.
It's the goblin card.
As the blue looks up hogtied from the pile at Eider with concern at the giants now, and all speaking in giant, and looks about at Eider and speaks in common and goes, "Are you gonna feed me to these things?
Oh, no, I'm their leader.
Are you a god?"
You don't look that appetizing anyway.
You speak common? You're not stupid! Oh my god!
No.
We were listening to you the whole time.
That's the whole time. Wait, you know that I was in your... Oh. I apologize for the food, as he looks at Kez with a worried look on his face.
Wait, what'd you do to the
Don't
food?
worry, I've lost my sense of taste a long time ago.
And looks back. The creature looks back at you and goes, "We saw you lot when you were fighting the man eaters, the things that like bite you and make you one of them. May have spiked your food on your travels. I'm more surprised you didn't die." As he looks up at Kez, a bit more still concerned in his eyes. You're not
Oh,
gonna.
you're the cause of his diarrhea?
What's? No.
That was before. Kez just had bad luck.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I feel quite hungry.
The blue starts like whooshing and flowing hard.
Yeah, just like facepalm was like, we're not gonna kill you, damn it. You can call to your people and like have them come over.
We're not gonna kill you, but if we need to, we might slightly concuss you. And I hold up the bonk stick.
Dom cracks his knuckles.
Give me an intimidation check, Ned. As
Can I
Eider's.
give help?
Yeah, go ahead. As
hell
Eider, Kikes,
I'm
Atler
great at
calls this.
these.
Oh no.
You don't have a +4 for being large.
It's true.
What
Oh,
what do
Well,
I
then I got an 8.
You get an 8.
Okay, so let's see, intimidation. So that's 23.
Because like I'm well versed in the goblin anatomy from my times in the Giant Lands.
Oh god. Maybe don't bring that up if we're trying to be
Let me
diplomatic.
grab my tools. No, just kidding.
I was like, man, and I thought I was the bad one at diplomacy with my +0. At least I don't talk about literally torturing them first.
No,
Jesus,
it's
yeah.
not canon.
Listen,
And,
that's why I didn't actually say, because that'd be evil, and I'm not evil.
No, I'm just fucking with you.
Not yet.
I've confirmed some information. So, and what was your help, Dom?
23.
23. Alright, so let me get my numbers out. Cool. As the two of you try to intimidate this creature, as it like looks between you and Eider, as Eider tries or asks it to call out its friends, the creature looks at Ned and kind of gets a slight grin on its face. But as Dom begins to crack his knuckles, the creature looks up a little bit more nervous as the sweat kind of starts to pour down, and looks back over at Eider and goes, I couldn't. You'd have to activate our abilities to do it. And the only way to do that is to reach underneath my britches and grab hold of the blue gems.
Sense motive.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. Do you want help with this? Yes.
I
You
mean,
got it?
certainly. I listen. I know I said it, but like anybody else could do it too. I just feel like he's bullshitting me.
Well, I know he's bullshitting me. I don't know about if necessarily what. That's suspicious as fuck.
Oh yeah.
19.
Because you've been told enough weird jokes since you've been cursed with this unfortunate appearance. As you realize, translating this in your head, he's telling you to go grab his balls.
All right,
I mean, we
I'll
can
do just that, and I'll squeeze very hard.
I prefer the twist and pull method personally.
Guess you actually?
Yeah.
Alright, well, I'm gonna give him a chance at an escape artist roll just real quick, because man's gonna need it.
No.
Oh, shit. Alright, well, that failed.
And now it's time for my strength 17 Kesanuk to go grab some balls.
No,
Yep.
you're grabbing some the blue family jewels, as it were.
As the creature kind of laid on its stomach as Kez kind of walks around, irritated, as the goblin seems to be smiling nervously, looking up. As Kez gets behind it and goes down, kind of leans down onto his knees, and looks over with a smirk as he reaches over to the creature's britches and starts to pull them down as the creature starts to look nervous.
Now, what do you say you call your friend over before we finish the job.
This will not be kind.
The creature looks back at Kez and goes, "You wouldn't. You're a man of
Are you-
cloth."
Familiar with what castration is on this island?
No?
Ah. Well, let our doctor maybe explain to you.
Nah, listen, Dom, I'm, like he said, I'm a man of the cloth. I'm a very good individual.
Oh, circumcision then.
I am simply just following the thing he told me to do.
Oh.
Right.
As you go to reach and grab, well, he's tied. He can't move.
However, if he was lying to me, and he still has a chance to change his words. Can I roll diplomacy for that?
That's what I was trying to.
Or
good
would
cop
that
it
be
and, like,
intimidation?
Yeah, you're like
diplomacy.
threatening to
Yeah, I'd
grab
say
his balls,
intimidation,
man.
Kez. And sorry, what was that, Ned?
But when I said, how about you call your friends over so we don't have to finish this
Yeah.
job?
Give me intimidation.
Can I do it like diplomatically, like good cop style?
Sure,
yeah.
give me a diplomacy check.
19.
And
19?
I get the extra +1 because I smell good.
It's
Yeah.
true.
Good cop, bad cop, big cop.
Dirty 20.
Firefighters, just like
As the creature sees Kez reach and feels the cold, gauntleted hands and starts to look really nervous as he looks over at Ned and goes, I can do that. As he looks back at Kez with a nervous look on his face, a bit of a twitchy grin and sweat coming down his face, and he goes, guys, if you can hear me, they're going to take my wishing parts. Please? As it goes quiet, and he kind of repeats the same message in Goblin again as he goes. Actually, do any of you speak Goblin by chance?
I do not.
I know I asked you if, their language, and I know I have, what language did I pick up?
Troll?
Yes, primitive.
Primitive, yes.
But
So
no-
you would be able to catch a general gist of the language. It's still going to be a little harder to translate. Okay.
Yeah, also got primitive, so.
Works.
In the
Okay,
same boat.
perfect. All right. As the two of you hear the creature shout in Goblin, the translation you roughly get, the creature seems to say, "My holy stones are within the palm of a woman with grand hands. The strength of a giant plans to crush my future and my parentage. Please, I beg of you, come and help me."
He's got that he's got that vice grip on me. Fucking help!
As you hear in come back in rough translation, a rough laughter kind of coming from the forest, and then one go, "Don't worry, you were never gonna use them anyways. That was my child."
It's so sad.
As
I
you
just, like-
see a single tear come down your captain's eyes as he just looks at Kez pleadingly.
I just pat this guy on the shoulder and go, "Your friends are dicks."
Yeah, I'll take the grip off him and be like, "That's rough, buddy."
And
Oh,
doesn't feel bad, but that hurts a little bit, even as a outsider.
looks between the lot of you with worry now and goes, "So they won't come? Am I free?" As he gives a slight smile. Oh. As he goes back to sad.
Well, here's the thing. We're going to be heading to your village. Ideally, we don't want to hurt anyone. We just want to talk. But, well, if you don't give us options, then we don't have options.
We have orders from above, so can't exactly just leave,
He nods.
or I suppose below.
So you want to meet Kraken's Maw?
Well, we're here to meet, I suppose, with the leader of your village. If that's who leads your village, then potentially. Who is
Yeah.
Kraken's
Right.
mom?
Do a roll to see if that name feels familiar.
Sure. Give me a knowledge history
Like the
or a
downtime we
knowledge
spent.
nature.
I would say the downtime we
I'll
spent
do a knowledge
in Zebra's
nature.
lands. Knowledge history, knowledge nature. Let me see which is higher.
23.
23. Okay.
I'll do history because Ned's doing nature. 7.
7. Haven't
Brackens.
heard of the individual before, but there aren't many famous goblins in history. Only recently a few of the apex monsters are said to have set up a town, but not many notables or even noteworthy ones have managed to find their way out or into the adventuring realm that you've heard of. Though you have been out of the world's news and what was going on with it, or rather its affairs, for almost 3 months now. So who knows what could have happened in that time. Ned, as you as you hear this name, you remember goblins are believed as a species to name themselves literally. Typically, some sort of deformity or something about them, their personality will usually give form to their name. You kind of think about this. Most likely, that means that either this creature probably likes to eat krakens. It, decided to put a kraken's mouth into its own jaws, or it uses a kraken's jaws for a weapon. As you kind of think about looking at the poor blue goblin, most likely you kind of catch that this is probably a weapon item of some sort. Beyond that, as you kind of note in looking at this individual, if the creature's got a name and it was capable enough to field a force of already 10 goblins out here, you'd roughly guess this is probably a tribe of around 500 goblins.
Noted. I will tell them all that information.
Okay. As Ned begins to tell you all that information.
That was very insightful.
Mm-hmm. As he reads from a little a book that's got a couple of mushrooms and flowers on the cover.
As I get to the end, I go, and just know, if we decide to go to the village, there's probably about 500 of them.
Great.
Not going to pain in the ass.
Just a little bit.
Well, by the way, what's your name?
We
what's your
don't
name, man?
we don't get names. We're born and then fed to fight creatures, and if we do something, we get names. I've not done anything, although my friends call me Ball Twister.
The irony of your situation.
Yeah. Well, I'm very good at planting creatures, and most of them are balls like roots, and so that's why they call me that. I twist them into the ground in a single blow. I'm actually a quite capable farmer back home, but I don't know enough to get named, and then they send you on these missions, and then you're supposed to do something. You know what you do? You die. And looks up at you all and goes, it's horrible. These squid things, they come onto the land, they tear you off into the waters, or the plant life eats you, or some ape that can tell you that you're in your greatest illusion, and then suddenly it eats your brain. It's horrible.
Then, would you prefer to be under the leadership of one who cares much more for his people than that?
No.
I'll roll a diplomacy check.
Yeah, go ahead and give me a diplomacy
Try
check.
to convince him to join Zebral's lands, because that's the mission, kinda, I think.
Subjugates one goblin, kills the rest. We got the tribe.
I mean, if he joins us, if he joins, Zebral, maybe he'll bring some buddies with. He can't be the only loser.
He's one of the
right?
good ones. Wow!
He's on
Wow.
the I'm just saying.
All right. To be fair, you named this goblin Ball Twister.
Yes, for something specific, I will say. You'll find out.
Yeah, honestly, I'm surprised he wasn't named Cuck.
Hey, come on now.
Damn.
That's a personal
No,
nickname.
that's your name.
Oh, I mean, you did just threaten to tear off his balls, so And he supposedly is from a married goblin.
19 on that diplomacy, by the way.
As you say this, explaining it to him, he kind of looks up at you as you explain, hey, that there's great living, all the creatures are fed, describing the hive and its beauty and everything, all the individuals walking through it. He just kind of looks up at you in horror and goes, you want me to willingly climb into a nest of Illithids?
I mean, they've been
Just-
great to us.
He looks back at Kez and just goes, just tear him off, man, please.
I mean, hey man, have you ever heard of the Pleasure Towers?
Yes.
Oh,
No,
give him one of the jelly beans. He'll
They-
understand.
The people were raided. We watched them all vanish below the grounds. It was horrible. Tribe's gone in an instant.
Well, they're sending us to try and make, well, by hook or by crook, to take your village.
Are you going to twist all of their balls?
I could, twist the balls off the guy that's fucking your wife.
He kind of looks at you and just kind of nods at that and goes, I would follow that.
I think that's a great
What
start.
wronged you?
I mean, I think that's a just punishment for adultery.
He nods.
The old dick twist.
A little more than a twist.
No, it's just
Twist
it's
and a
just a
sharp
twitch with
tongue.
some extra revolutions.
I cast testicular torsion.
Oh, God. Oh, but as he
Well,
looks up at you, kind of weighing,
yeah.
goes, if you want me to take you there, I can.
What would be the best way to actually convince your leader to join up with the Illithids?
Kind of spits on the ground and looks up at you a bit more serious suddenly. Kind of goes, kill him, take his head.
Mm.
Now,
This was
what would you think if we took care of him and installed you as a new leader to then go with the Illithids? To be the representative of your people.
Give me a second. Are you, let me ask you something, Kaz. Are you, actually legit gonna help this individual, or are you just, putting a carrot in front of him to get him to do what you want?
I don't know yet.
he's on board for either.
Go.
He's keeping his options open.
The
I keep my
creature
options
kind of
open.
looks up at you, kind of nods and goes, yeah? I would, then no one could take my wives.
Exactly.
I think that could make it so you could take theirs, technically.
He nods up and down and goes, I could get him back. I could take his wife. Although she's old.
It still hurt him, I assume.
I don't know, he might be happy.
I think might be a more painful insult if you managed to be romantically involved with one of his daughters.
Oh.
Oh, no, we don't reproduce easily. None like that. Not that many of us up at the tribe.
Oh.
Females are prized.
Oh, so it is a grave insult what he's done to you.
He nods.
So what shall we do with the remaining scouting party?
Are you saying that in common, or are you saying that in giant?
Well, this is me asking the goblin. What shall we do with the remainder of your scouting party?
He just kind of looks up at you and goes, I don't know. Not kill me?
Well, certainly. Why would we kill you?
He lets out a breath at that, kind of looking about, looking at his pants still slightly pulled down, his dick is literally in the dirt, and kind of looks about and goes, not eat me?
Not eat you.
We don't eat goblins.
Eating.
He nods up
We
and
have
down.
plenty of rations.
I prefer non-sentience anyway.
Looks at you with a bit of a raised eyebrow at that comment.
Animals technically have a level sentience, but we won't get into that.
The goblin turns to Dom and gives them an even bigger raised eyebrow.
Dom, that didn't help at all.
What? I'm just pointing it out, to Ned's defense. You know how Ned feels about meat consumption.
Ned, you've eaten meat before, haven't you?
Oh no.
I mean, I don't mind the consumption so much. It's the cutting up of the animals that I don't really like.
Flashback to the butchery.
Do
The
you
bush-
prefer they're eaten whole like a snake?
No, it just one of those like
He just doesn't like seeing
better
it
off I
happen.
don't know.
Like,
Just give me the big old slab of meat and I'll do the rest. You know.
Don't ask,
How
don't
do
tell.
you survive in the wild.
Plants and mushrooms, I'd assume.
I guess so.
Sometimes
So,
the
go
mushrooms
back
bring
to-
fun, and then you wake up the morning surrounded by a pile of bones. So, must have had a good feast, you know.
Ah.
I don't think I ever had that experience when I was in the wilderness.
No. When I was a young giant, I had some fun with some druids.
I just like rub my face and like turn to Bob just so he's like, so what can you tell me about your village and
Yes.
your people?
We're a lot. We're blue. We don't like illithids. Kraken's Maw has ruled for a few years. At least ever since I was little. We killed an illithid once, and then there was a big dragon that came out of the ground and yelled at us and ate one of our leaders. We poked this big rock thingy underground, and we got Kraken's Maw found a big ball thing underneath it and took it with it, and the rock thing got angry. It was funny. I was there doing that. I almost got squished.
That sounds okay. Out of character, that sounds like an elemental core.
Yeah. Or something.
Like, could I like roll like knowledge to verify like how on the money that is, or
Give me knowledge, nature, or survival, because this would be like a beast of like. I'll take a knowledge arcana as well for the summoning spell if you want to try for that.
Maybe they took something from the apex monster.
31 Arcana?
31 Arcana. Yeah, it's not uncommon for gemstones to be basically. Well, actually, that's in fact exactly how elementals are formed. They form around a gemstone that has a lot of magic. Sometimes it's death ore, sometimes it's a spell ingrained, sometimes it's just some material in there is highly magical. Hey, maybe there's a dead wizard in it. Who knows? But basically, they are all usually giant gemstones, usually almost near perfect in appearance, and clear to look through. Usually having some sort of distinct mark that looks a little foreign to the whatever or wherever it would have been. Like, not like cut or like a mark from the ground, but just foreign. Unnatural, if you will. As you kind of listen to the description, it's a little rough to get from this individual. That could be the case. That also sounds like it could be just as much of an egg. It could be that this could be something completely entirely different that's just a powerful gem that has magic to it. It's a little hard to tell based on his lack of intelligence when it comes to describing the item.
Got it. And how about your you're the scouts, but like you say, you were a farmer before, right?
Mm-hmm. He nods.
What about the warriors?
Oh, we had one of those. Little Maw, he was with us. He's probably still in the forest laughing, watching this whole thing from the trees. He carries the big bow, got great eyes. Once shot an arrow halfway across the island by himself. But each of the scouting parties have one of the warrior group, or caste as they like to call themselves. Had this weird little bearded creature that looked a lot like you come into our lands that we tortured and gave us a bunch of information. Kraken's Maw really liked the idea of what he called a caste system. All I thought it meant is basically there's guys who get fat, and then there's guys like me who don't. It's really not fair.
I just like kind of shrug and nod, just like, yeah, that's about the size of it.
I'm here and more than willing to help change that system to be a little bit more fair to you.
I just want to be at the
That's
top of the system. I don't want to change it.
That can also be arranged. Say, in this village of yours, where it's built upon some kind of ruins or structures, is there a more direct route, say, or paths around the back that would lead to wherever Kraken Moss stays?
Kraken
You know,
Moss
quick
stays
and
in the
easy route
center.
in. Are there no more hidden routes to
No,
his chambers?
not in the slightest. He's very paranoid type. He doesn't like being bothered. His lieutenants guard the outer walls that are broken. There's a checkpoint every few feet to get to the center of the stronghold, and then his big tent has its own little pit and spikes around it. He doesn't like people going in there without him being there either. Oh, he's got big guards there. Big, like, as he points to Kaz and goes, as big as him.
And these are goblins or something else?
I don't know. I've never met them. They're just big.
Hmm. And is this is tent of his and what resides? Is this has walls and a roof? Roof open? How open is it?
It's tent. He has a tent in the center. There's tents all around, and then we have farming outside of the castle. The walls themselves are broken. The towers themselves have roofs, but none of the center does.
None in the center does. I'll look at the group in Giant and go, if there's no roof, I could maybe get in avoiding the checkpoints, but I don't know if I could take anyone with me. I'm just gonna offer that up.
Just kind of like nod and shrug and say, generally speaking, I think Ned could probably follow you. I could work my way in somehow, but I don't know how Kez would do it. And it sounds
Oh.
like
The creature looks up at Eider and goes, "Oh, if you want to know, that guy looks like the one of the people that came to our village about 2 months ago."
which guy?
As he points over at Kez and his armor specifically.
We did find a person that was eaten by the man-eaters that had a similar set of armor.
He nods and goes, "Yeah. A small group of what we saw on these wooden things came over the Great Saltiness, and when they landed, we ate them. Well, we ate one of them. Young giantess, called herself some weird name. Kept saying she was what was the word? It was something in giant. I think it meant fancy person. I don't know. They had some fancy symbol on their chest. Tasted
Nobility?
good. That's
Did
it.
you draw what?
As Eider says nobility, the creature nods and says, "That's it."
Do you think you could draw the symbol?
Takes a second. Goes, "If you untie me."
Use your
John
nose on the
looks
ground.
very unhappy about that.
Sure, I can untie you. I like make like a pocket of like pure energy in like the palm of my hand and say, just so you know, there's nowhere you can run that I can't shoot you with this.
My hammer starts crackling with electricity.
Give me an intimidation check.
I
Go
just
ahead and
prep-
add. Go ahead.
Let's say I prep my 15-foot reach to grab him if he runs.
Could the crackling hammer be like a help action?
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
Ned will just kind of like lean up against the closest tree and go, "Just so you know, they're all threatening you, but you try to run and I'm just gonna entangle your ass to the ground. So, do us all a favor and don't."
Now, quick question: is helping just a flat d20, or is it the same roll?
It's the same roll. You just take half,
Okay.
and I add that to the 9.
A 22 intimidation.
22.
So 11.
11. So okay. As you kind of say, as the lot of you kind of look down and speak to the creature, as he looks about, he kind of nods as Eider goes to undo the rope. Creature kind of, as he gets himself kind of his feet underneath him and sits down, getting his back straightened out as he rubs his wrist and his ankles. He leans into the dirt, grabbing one of the sticks from the fire, and he begins to draw a symbol that looks very similar to the one that was it? I think his name was Utvel. The fire giant individual that you had met back in King's End, that had sold you the Inferno Silk.
It's a golden axe symbol.
It is.
Dom would recognize that right away, and his face looks very displeased. Describe the giant, how he looked.
The goblin looks up at...
right?
Yeah, the goblin nods and looks up at Kaz and goes, like him, but prettier.
Tried to remember based on Udful's reaction if I would consider him prettier than Kaz.
No. Kaz is,
Yeah.
generally a very effeminately attractive currently, so...
Your boy has a 20 in charisma. I'm fucking gorgeous.
Yeah, he's got
Yeah.
the anime kind of pretty boy look. To a giant, he's kind of disturbing to a lot, for the manliness, so...
Yeah. So I think the young noble description gets Dom worried, and then hearing that the goblins consider this giant pretty and similar to Kez, he's immediately like, no. Udval was like quite buff and built and kind of typical giant standards, but definitely not like pretty. So Dom kind of relaxes.
I try and describe Utham's wife.
As you go ahead, give me let's do a knowledge. We'll just use it as a knowledge nobility.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I won't make you roll a charisma check on that.
If he killed Utham's wife, I might have to find whoever did that.
That would surprise Utham.
Yeah.
12.
12.
Who's his wife?
As you describe them, the blue goblin kind of nods along and goes, "No, sounds older. Though, they did have a small golden axe. Well, small for them. That we keep it in the center of camp. It glows. It's very pretty."
I just like let out like a huge sigh of relief. This isn't about to become an international incident. Because I swear to God.
They still killed a noble. It might end up being still an international
guys,
incident.
out of character, want to remind everyone that I joined the Golden Axe Company technically, officially during downtime, so this kind of does involve my people.
Oh, this is a you problem. I don't know what the fuck to do
yeah,
about
I mean,
that.
I'm just gonna grab the axe when we do whatever we do in village,
Okay.
clearly.
I was like, I can't like sign off on like burn the village to the ground or some crazy shit.
Hey, no. Just, I need to recover that artifact when we handle business. That's I need to return that to,
Well, the symbol on the armor I picked up, didn't that have a golden axe on it?
Yep.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't catch that last session. Damn.
I did. Oh, I forgot to like poke you about that, but I did study the armor over the downtime.
Yeah.
And I think I
I see
posted
how it
it.
is.
Did I not?
Don't.
That was the acid resistance. If not, you can poke me
I
post
did
session.
see acid resistance. I didn't recall hearing about the golden axe, but I might have missed it. Oh, well, I guess I'll have to report to Udval in case he had any men go missing. Okay. Yeah, I'm keeping a very close eye on this guy and what he does with his hands, by the way, because I don't trust this. I feel like he might start casting some spells or something.
Okay. As the blue just kind of sits there looking up at you a lot, hands still kind of on his legs as he sits there, cross-legged as he looks around.
So how does this Kraken Maw hold power still? Is it fear? There's something like cultural?
He nods and stands up, kind of slowly as he does so, and then he starts air thrusting and goes, and he looks at you as he stops doing that and goes, "Kraken's Maw is very good."
So,
we just
Right.
walk in and challenge him? Are people really going to give a shit and just let us through, or will there be a fight?
Depends on his mood. If he thinks you are worthy, then he'll fight you. However, this one, as he points over to Ned and goes, this one may be able to get in with ease. He smells like what goblin women do.
I just like turn, like give like Ned an appraising like merchant look for a second, realize I'm looking at a person and like shake my head and go, oh, I think I just felt like James for a second. Oh, that was awful.
I just give you the blankest, unamused stare.
I
Okay.
mean, Ned, it's about time it happened to someone other than Kez. Let's be honest.
It's good not to be the center of attention for once.
The blue looks
Well,
up
don't
at...
speak too
I'm
soon.
eating
You
nothing but
described you as
beans from
pretty.
here on out.
I don't think it's gonna help you anymore.
The blue looks between you and looks up
That'll
at
make
Kez.
my innards smell bad.
As he does, looking at Kez, he goes, no, that one would be looks a lot like our man, like our chief. Strong. You can see it in the arms. As he kind of looks at Kez for a second, looking him up and down, and goes, Kraken's more similar.
Effeminate or
Strong without sting.
Right, not visually buff, but still strong.
As he kind of eyes Kez's hammer.
Yeah, just Kez has high strength.
Yeah, my dear
What,
17 in strength. I love it.
What kind of powers or abilities does this Kraken Maw of yours have? We heard that your people have powers of the mind. How strong is he in terms of that?
He begins thrusting in the air 8 times, and then stops and looks at you and goes, that's strong.
Level 8, guys.
yeah, we got that. We've done that
He
before.
Yeah, oh,
He
I've got
can
a
have.
lead.
He can sex really good.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not sure I understand the pelvic thrust power level.
Well,
The
Do you
blue
want
looks
to
up,
become intimately familiar with it?
he looks over at Ned and goes, myself? He does a very slow and weak thrust into the air and goes, that's normal.
Ned, tell Ned his level. I think he'll understand then where he ranks.
Blue looks at you and goes, okay, and then starts to slowly walk over towards Ned and starts
Not
sniffing
like
him
that.
up and down. As he
Not
climbs
like that.
onto you, Ned, as Dom just tries to protest, the creature seems to climb up you effortlessly.
Ned can stop him. He doesn't have to let this happen.
As the
No,
creature,
I want to see where this is going.
the creature kind of sniffs Ned up and down, then climbs down onto the ground, looks up at Ned, and then goes and thrusts twice and goes, about that.
Oh,
Seems
not
like it's
level
about
8.
average. I don't know.
He nods.
so you are 2. This guy is an 8. That's expected, but I suppose informative. Dom kind of looks a little unsure.
Sometimes you don't need all those. Sometimes 2's all it takes.
Ned,
Blue nods.
I don't think. Okay.
He kind of looks at you, then goes, "Oh, and the friend you have following you in the forest." And he just starts really hard, pelvic thrusting at everything he can for almost up to 10 times, and stops and goes, "About roughly."
That checks out.
I just rub my face with my hands. I'm in a coma. I swear to God, this is all an illusion. I'm just in hell. I never left Abaddon.
Something
You
we're
couldn't be
missing,
that
Joe.
lucky, Eider.
I mean, if you stab yourself with your knife, you could always go back.
I'm starting to think it might be better.
As
Okay.
you start to kind of think for a second, we're going to take a quick 5-minute break so I can grab some water real quick and run to the restroom as we let the party kind of figure out what they want to do for their next steps and plan their questions. We will be back momentarily. Alright, we return back as you lot had a moment to kind of think for a second while everyone took a minute to step away. I think most people are at least back or listening, so as we return back. As you guys stand around the Blue Goblin as he looks up at you, kind of giving you this bit of information, trying to explaining to the best that he can, and power thrusting into the air as much as possible to entertain and make you laugh. As you all asked him a few questions, is there anything else you want to ask him as he looks up expectingly?
What's the worst insult a goblin can receive? One that, like, they potentially have to immediately answer on a personal level or lose all face forever.
Goblin looks at you and kind of thinks for a minute. And takes a second, and then he looks up at you and goes, the simplest way would be to be, and he kind of like puts his finger up and then like lets it go limp. And then looks at you and goes, goblins are, we are simple folk. Everything goes around the idea of mating rituals. Oh, and to be told you have a small forehead. Very big insult.
I see. So if we were, and I apologize for the graphic use of language, call him a limp dick, small forehead motherfucker, would that incite a riot? Would that get him to come fight us?
I mean, it would anger him, yes. I mean, you lot are larger creatures and would assumedly be a challenge to him. He'd have to answer.
And does he have the loyalty of his people? Would they actually like follow to help him, or would they just
His warriors.
decide this wasn't worth?
He nods.
So if we call him out the challenge, we likely will still have to fight multiple targets.
How many warriors does he have?
Kind of thinks for a second and goes, kind of thinks, goes about 20. So he holds up like 10 twice.
Are they all with him at the camp, or are some of them on these scouting parties you talked about?
One or two may be on scouting parties. Otherwise, the rest are stay back at camp. Must protect the females as well as our fertile grounds. Never know when the squids are going to raid us again.
Ned, I lean into Ned. Do you have any way to look like a squid? Might scare them.
That's a no-go, unfortunately.
Later levels.
I just like turn to Dom and it's like, are you trying to encourage him to put on squid face? That's very offensive, you know.
To squids? What connection do you have to squids?
The Illithid Hive?
They're not squid, they're illithids. I think you making that comparison is offensive.
Yeah, Dom, whenever they say squids, they're talking about the Illithids.
I thought they were talking about, like krakens coming up from the... You mentioned creatures coming up from the oceans, did you not?
He nods.
Yeah, from the ocean. The illithids don't go near the ocean. They're talking about actual squid monsters.
I just turned to Ball Twister and said, which is it? Is it both?
He nods.
Thought so.
Yeah, I figured as much.
Whatever. Either way, are we planning to try to... Balthasar, if you introduced us to whoever these security checkpoint people are, these scouts, the guarding, and told them we were here, diplomatic business, wanted to simply talk to the leader, do you think having you vouch for us would let us in, or would they turn us away?
Yes, if I took you in as tied up.
I feel like if he vouched for us, they would just laugh at us and then stab us.
No, tied up, they would bring us right to your leader?
You'd make good trophies. I'd have to turn you in.
You know, guys, I could tie some pretty convincing fake knots.
Yeah, but I would assume you'd also have to take all of our weapons off us, yeah?
He shrugs and
Bag of
shakes his
holding?
head no.
Hide them?
Oh, no?
Oh.
Alright.
Oh,
Kind of looks
That-
at you, Kaz, and like as he thrusts, give me a will save.
God damn it. I have a reaction prep to grab him if he starts to run. Don't forget.
He's not running.
Motherfucker, what's he doing?
You just mind fucking Kez a little bit.
Oh.
Alright, you said we'll save.
Correct.
That'll be a 28.
Fuck. Well, yeah, you succeed with these. You know, it's non-lethal damage, but Jesus Christ.
Just look at him, just dead stare.
As he thrusts at you, you feel a momentary feeling of a headache, and it seems to go like as a wave over your head, vanishing as quickly as it hits you. And he looks up and smiles and goes, "No weapons can stop us."
I mean,
I mean, you were pretty afraid of my hammer earlier.
He kind of shrugs and as he kind of like looks at you and goes, "Thrusting outbeats hammers every time."
So all we have to do is prevent you guys from thrusting.
He nods.
you know, I feel like I've broken a few hips in the past. As Dom like kind of adjusts his gauntlets.
Ball Twister looks at you and blushes a vibrant red, turning his skin slightly purple.
We can always get rid of their legs.
What? Why is he looking at me like that?
You know, Dom, maybe you're just a little attracted to that guy. I don't know.
Me, as Dom gestures to the incredible size difference between the two. I
Able to
mean-
be
Something-
napped
listen,
like a snack.
Hey, death by snoo, I guess.
I say this creature, for your own knowledge, is about 3 feet tall. It comes up to the ankle of Dom.
3 feet! I'm 22 feet. This guy is like 19 feet smaller than me, almost. That's crazy. I
the
don't
upside
think I
is-
can use that to get to Kraken Maw, or I would be open to the idea.
The upside is, with all you big folks around, I'm very unlikely to suffer any danger whatsoever until you're all dead.
That's not exactly reassuring either.
It is for me, but only slightly, and only as a joke.
I
Uh-huh.
think
Actually, who do you target first in a raid? The biggest or the weakest looking?
One who has the biggest head.
Hey,
I
Dom.
just like look at Dom. I was
Well-
like, yep.
Well, I'm physically the biggest, but DM, is Dom's forehead actually proportionally the largest? I don't know if I'm the most
You're
intelligent. in the
20.
party.
You are 22. Feet tall? You have the biggest fucking head.
Yeah.
By
Hey,
mass, yes,
some
your head
giants-
is bigger.
Some giants have small heads proportionally.
Unless
see
you had
artwork?
like a shrunken head that was 2 size categories smaller than your body.
So that's also an art depiction from, as in the D&D books, is quoted as human and elven artists who usually are adventurers fighting these creatures. It's kind of hard to
Yeah.
get an accurate painting while you're being smacked at
So I
with a
guess
club.
Dom like sees everyone turn to him and is like, I think we all assumed they were going to target me first. I'm massive. That tends to be what happens in these fights.
Oh, so you blend in.
Yes. Well,
Not
I
cool, dude.
suppose
Not
I
cool.
would assume your people's eyesight is good since you saw us.
He shakes his head. Goes, I only see 2 colors.
Oh.
Gray
point,
and grayer. You are dark gray? He points over at Eider and goes, that is bright gray.
What about me?
Actually, hold on.
You are bear.
I'm curious. Would you mind trying one of these jelly beans for me?
Bull Twister
student
looks
run.
up at you and goes, yeah, free food, sure. I mean, I haven't eaten all day.
Here you go.
As he takes it, I'll make a fortitude and we'll save real quick.
Maybe he can see multiple colors with this ambrosia bean.
Well, he survived the fortitude. He did not survive the will. As you watch, as he kind of bites down onto it, and immediately starts a big smile kind of almost erupts across his face as he looks to be in pure ecstasy as he begins to collapse. His body beginning to become so happy it is unable to move as everything in his body relaxes. He begins to, unfortunately, like a dead body, shit himself, and all of his bowels release as the stench becomes intense.
I would just like turn and just give Kez a death stare for a few seconds.
We
Okay,
needed
And
him.
this is
Hold
why
on.
you shake it out of your leg.
All right, hold on.
Just like pointing at him.
Hold on. Let me take his vitals to see if he's either just like passed out from the ecstasy or he's actually dead. Because I'm a cleric, I can still bring him back.
Give me
Oh, I
Do you
can
think we
assure
could,
you he is just very passed out.
Can we think we could convince Kraken Mod to eat that, and maybe that would happen to him?
Give me a heal check.
All right, thank you.
As Dom says this, Kez leaning down to get a pulse.
27. However, I do get a +1 to goblin related rolls, I think, or is it just
Yes. Yeah, it's related, yeah.
All right, so 28 then.
As you look him over, he is catatonic. He's not dead. He is not moving anywhere. He is going through so many waves of ecstasy from what you can tell. His body is just continuously relaxing to such a state that he can't physically move.
You see, that's the type of stuff you get when you are friends with Big Z.
I don't think he can hear you right now, Kez.
Probably not, but maybe
Do you
it'll
think-
come through in his vision somewhere.
We could somehow get this into Kraken Mod and the guard's food source, and
Well,
if we
we
crushed
could
up the jelly beans, would it work?
well, we could always hand one over to him as a gift, as a bean of pure ecstasy.
I have a feeling when Ball Twister comes to consciousness, he's going to probably want them all for himself. So if we pretend to be hostages, I don't know if we could trust him to hand it over to Kraken Maw.
It's not like he's gonna take anything off of us. We're gonna have fake knots on us anyways.
True.
I mean, plus, if I have a bean of that can, potentially make sex feel better, I think, Kraken's mouth would love it.
Could come in with that as our pitch, I suppose, if they're
Uh,
as simple-minded as Ball Twister says.
The a little blue pill.
Do you think you could lie, or I could lie, whichever of us would be better at it, that this would make him better performatively or larger in size? I feel like that might convince him.
Listen, on a scale from 1 to however many, I'm a solid 15 in my lying capability.
Okay. Okay.
God damn it.
Would you feel comfortable morally lying like that as a man of the cloth?
If it's a way to avoid killing people,
Yes.
As
They're
you
not
look
people,
down
they're
at
just
the
goblins.
as you look down at the
Oh,
goblin
Whoa!
twitching.
Whoa, first the squid comment, now this, Aether.
I think you're both just incredibly racist. You just haven't found that out yet.
You
I'm a
know,
dwarf.
I don't think you
That
can
doesn't
say that to
excuse you
me.
of anything. You literally were calling him squids.
I can't help it. My race comes with the racial hatred feature.
Racism isn't genetic, either.
You can unlearn that, Aether.
It's
You can
nature,
deprogram
not
yourself.
nurture.
The irony of hearing that from giants.
Yeah.
Wait, I just like look at y'all like, aren't y'all the biggest slaving nation in the world?
I
I'm
don't
pretty-
have slaves.
I don't think
That's
we're
an
the biggest
assumption
slaving
and a
nation.
stereotype.
Oh, now the backpedaling
pos-
begins.
I'm almost positive we're not the biggest slaving nations in the world. Plus, I'm
think
also
the
beholden to
dragons
none of
are.
the nations.
Storm giants technically would be because they sacrifice slaves to towers just to get power.
Well, they don't keep the slaves for long. That's more sacrifice.
Yeah, they're a big sacrifice nation. It's not the same.
Yeah,
They're
sacrifice.
tools. They're not slaves. They don't count as people.
Yeah, the sacrifice is different.
As Eider gets a political lesson in the lacking of morality of giants, as this poor goblin is twitching on the floor in ecstasy that from any other observer's view in the distance would look like you just killed a goblin by feeding it a golden jelly bean.
No, he's
All
clearly
right.
alive. Keep
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
they
still
might not buy it.
it's still twitching, but yeah,
I have a question. Would
Yes.
lesser restoration bring him out of it?
you can try.
Is it worth the spell slot though?
I mean, we have like what 24 hours to get to the main base.
Yes, at
Not
least
true.
12 hours
Oh,
to
okay.
walk there is roughly what he told you. If you had left immediately.
Gotcha.
So you're not planning to travel during the day like he had recommended, then yes, you will have more than 24 hours because you'll have to rest during the day.
Then yeah, I'd get my slot back anyways.
Yep.
So yeah, let's bring him back up.
Okay. As you cast Lesser Restoration on him, kind of lightly tapping him on the shoulder, suddenly kind of waves, his eyes stop glazing as he begins to relax and looks up at you and just lets out a horrific scream of pain and fear as he looks at you, shouting at the top of his lungs in common, making birds all around the forest scatter to the winds as he screams for more, as if he is an addict going through the worst withdrawals.
Whoa,
What did
buddy!
you do to him, Kaz?
I think he's addicted after one dose.
Oh, you just ruined this man's life. Holy shit.
Oh, the size compared to yours. You should have taken that into account. You need to give him a quarter of it.
You might be right.
As Kez looks at the label, it says, "One size may fit all."
No, hold on. There might be something. What can I do to
Sure,
remove
He
addiction?
screams out in pain once again, as he is going to make a fortitude at his new con score.
Oh no.
Hey, good news, he's not dead!
Sentient.
As he screams out in pain, blood curdling out, falling out of his mouth as the foam begins to develop, the creature passes out, falling to the ground unconscious, letting again out what was even more of what was left in the poor creature's body.
Huh.
So, might
I don't
have
think we're
ruined
gonna-
the one in we had.
To be honest with you, I don't think the plan with the sneaking in gonna work now.
Well, give me a minute while
Well,
I'm gonna...
would this count as a poison of some kind?
I don't know. I don't know if it might just be an addiction.
If it's a poison, I could maybe cure him. If it's not, he is like this forever.
Tom just nudges the poor thing with his boot.
That was kind of what I was picturing, yeah. Like, I didn't want this to happen, but I can't do anything, and if you can't heal him, then...
It's times like these that I wonder if we're the bad guys.
Lord Zebra, watching this, nods along and says, "Yes, these are the villains I was expecting."
I mean, we were going in with the knowledge that we would either force them to hit Lord Zebral's will or kill them. So I feel like this wasn't part of the plan at all for me, but like, you knew we weren't going to exactly be nice to these people.
Oh, I was aware. Also figured their society probably wasn't all that nice to begin with, which
Oh,
turns out
definitely not.
correct.
Yes.
Oh, well, actually, okay. You watch as the body expires.
Ah,
That was a
Oh,
minus
you
15,
just-
not a minus 5. I mistyped. As you hear a final, almost little quiet and faint squeal coming from the creature's throat as it wiggles for a second and then stops moving.
What the fuck was in the things? Yes, what are those?
Noting, you saw Kez downing these things in the bar just
Yeah.
willy-nilly, so...
Yeah, that's why I'm scared now.
Listen, I have a pretty great constitution, is all I'm saying.
This Kez
So-
puts the jelly beans away, I imagine.
I suppose we could still approach offering these as a trade, but it seems like we might have to go with Eiter's idea of just aggravating all of them at once.
Hey, we'll see if we can still use it. Yeah, I mean, if it if it has even a slight amount of effect on that leader as it did on this guy, I might give us advantage.
I mean, if we challenge him to a fight and he comes to greet us, if you think you have a good enough aim to just, lob one in there.
I think I have a good enough. I think I can convince him.
Could also use Ned's blowgun.
Look at Ned's blowgun. You could use my sling, technically. It would be awkward in my hands, but...
Well, I mean, specifically to administer it like a poison. Your sling wouldn't
Well,
exactly.
I wonder if this
Penetrate
has
the
to be
skin.
ingested and not like inserted into the blood.
Dom, you've got 12 hours to figure out how to make that happen.
I was just... If you give me 12 hours with one of these things, I could maybe make a poison out of it, but I'm telling you now, it better be ingested only. If this thing can get into cuts, I do not want to touch it.
Go on a little trip.
What's with me having incredibly dangerous and interesting things on my person?
Yeah, wasn't there a...
It's funny how you only get them when you go into the one character who likes to give you the same kind of items in his own campaigns.
I mean, I didn't expect the feel-good jelly beans to do this. Well, at least not to this
did.
degree.
Okay.
And then again, I got the dangerous bag far long ago.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Makes you wonder.
are we waiting for Skartsmender to return, or should we just start setting off and trying to
I'm a
make
little
some progress?
I wouldn't be surprised if he's just been watching this whole time.
No, I mean,
Just like
neither.
turn and look behind us and like see if I can see Skartsmender.
As you do see him just kind of standing there, kind of
Yep.
sharpening a stick with what looks to be a rabbit slung over his side, and goes as he walks over.
Eh.
That'd have to be painful to watch.
Oh, he nods and he goes, "It's no issues. The one-eyed went to find, though, has decided he does not wish to meet you lot after this display, and has gone back to his own party to continue his observations on other creatures."
Oh, good. So he's no longer going to be following us.
That is my
Can't even blame him
understanding.
at this point.
I
we
feel like
we did
we could've
see
won.
the unfortunate situation and did hear most of what you lot were talking about.
Yeah, I can't
Listen,
take him anywhere.
we're just workshopping ideas, not
So
really
he
decided
knows-
on what we're gonna
Did
do.
you catch the part where Kaz had the goblin by the nuts?
Unfortunately, yes, I could see all the way up at the angle I was standing at.
I think that's primarily why he doesn't want to meet us anymore, Ned.
Well, his loss.
I feel like, considering
Huh.
this guy has randomly been following us for over a year, having him no longer follow us could be a very good thing.
Yeah.
Like settle up to start Skartsmender is like, hey, do you know if that guy's like party is hiring?
Oh, actually, yes, that was one of the things we were chatting about for a moment, thinking about moonlighting in my free time.
I'm just gonna like nod to myself, let the gag like sit there.
So, how do we want to try to, give the goblin leader a jelly bean and then take him down from there, or?
Do you think he is smart? We were told these creatures were smart. I have a couple doubts. I look down at Paul Twister's dead corpse. But do you think if we went in with him and informed him that this was a traitor who was trying to retaliate due to being, I suppose, cucked is the nicest way to say it, that he would buy that? Or do you think if they see us with a dead body, they'll just attack?
I'm pretty sure
I'd
like
say
the
it's a
guys
50-50.
didn't. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like, aren't the scouting party like still around?
I mean, they
Well, they-
they seem to have headed deeper into the forest when you guys had captured
sure
the guy
they-
and threatened about the ball twisting.
I'm sure they've ran off to tattle to him that one of theirs got captured and we're on the way.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think we should go to the gates, tell them that Eider is 20, and then Ned does like the 20 pelvic thrusts, and that he is better than Kraken Mall.
And then we can either can
That
say
might
the
piss him off.
things- either can say
let
the
him know that
things-
Eider fucks.
Yeah, And then Kezi, you could offer Kraken Maw a jelly bean as a performance enhancer on the
That
side.
good. It was so
I don't think
powerful
he'll
that
buy
it
it.
killed. It was so powerful that it killed this
You could,
guy, Ball
if
Twister.
you hold out a couple and brag that this is what makes Aether so powerful, they might try to steal it and take it. If you pretend it is something valuable you don't want them to get. I mean, they are goblins. From my understanding of how we've interacted in the past, they do have a tendency to take things.
I mean, we could probably play on the pride of Kraken Maw, being like, this is such a powerful, ecstasy thing that only the strongest can even handle it, and that Ball Twister died because it was just too strong for him. Maybe we'll be able to get Kraken Maw to take it just out of his own pride.
Probably.
Well, I'll leave that to you guys to try and attempt to persuade him.
I plan to lie about it. If you want to be convincing, Kez, you are free to. You might be better at that than I, but I plan to lie through my teeth.
Well, there's no time like the present. I'll think about it as we get closer.
Oh, we have 12 hours. Plenty of time to talk on the road.
We're on the one road, maybe the long road. We're on
Were
the
we
road
just
to God
planning
knows where.
to leave him? And I point at the dead goblin.
Yes. Et domine et lux perpetua luceat eris requitastum
As
pace.
Kez brings out a quick, like bow cross and with the shield on it, begins making a couple of, like, symbols in the air.
Does that mean I should not collect some of his brain?
Hey, man.
Why do you need that?
Listen.
Why have you all evolved into sociopaths in the last 24 hours?
Listen, man. I'm gonna perform his rites.
5 weeks.
I'm gonna give him his last rites and send his soul to a better place. I'd say, listen. You're also the Ned. You taking someone's brains after you are afraid of busheries?
I don't know. Maybe his brain's on decorative, using as paint for my staff. Maybe something would happen. I don't know.
As paint.
Ned, do you have a voice in your head telling you need this guy's brains? And be honest, because I'm not going to judge.
No, have you guys never, like, cave painted?
No.
Not with brains.
I mean, sometimes you use brains, sometimes you mash up some berries, sometimes you just use what came out of you.
Ned,
I'll leave that to the imagination.
I think I'm gonna have to veto you mutilating a dead body.
Well,
I mean, they're not people; they're creatures. So
well,
they're intelligent, Ned. They're sentient.
To be fair, some monsters that we fight and kill are also technically sentient. But yes.
Thinks back to the plants that had a higher intelligence than Kez.
I'm also thinking back to, like, werewolves we fought before and killed,
Dragons,
and maybe one of us especially killed real hard.
Mm-hmm.
Dragons in general.
Mm-hmm.
I did turn some of them. I did dehydrate the fuck out of them.
Maybe not mutilating the body. I do think, Aether, you should take any deep crystal gear on this guy for further crafting, since you seem to have had use of it before.
Spoils of war, I suppose.
He doesn't need it anymore.
I just rub my face.
Uh-huh. Go ahead.
I'm turn to Scartsman, consider for a moment. It's like, who did you ever get? I really want to know what that guy was here for. Can you leave any way to contact him outside of this nonsense?
He mentioned his name was Raider. Mentioned he was part of some group called the Swords. Not much else discussed. Said that he'd probably be staying on the island for the next few days, but didn't plan to be involved in whatever you lot were doing. Just doing research on the island itself and its many creatures, as Lord Zebril has asked.
Damn. Well, I'll see if I can ask Uncle Zebril to do a favor for me, but otherwise I imagine that ship is way sailed.
Scartsmander nods at that. The
How
goal.
are
Good.
we to know that we're supposed to make good first introductions? No one told us.
Your mission has nothing to do with what they're here for. You're here to finish and complete what our Lord Zebril has declared a thing called college. Once you've completed this, then you will be allowed to go and do as you wish.
I can only feel like in the back of my head this is going to lead to even worse of an international reputation. I swear to God, if I end up with 3 fucking bounties.
Well, who would post the bounty? The goblins?
I don't fucking
We're about
know.
to steal them.
I haven't been to the Dragonlands. I've got a bounty. I've not met any of the fucking
True.
Brightbones Oggs. I've got a bounty.
Just don't wear goblin armor.
My life is hell. I just like kind of stoop and like take like the deep stone arrows out of his quiver.
Mm-hmm. Deep
And
crystals.
there's like, yeah, the deep crystals. I just gotta like, snap the heads off of them and like put like the shafts back with him.
Mm-hmm. You can add 10 deep crystals to your inventory for that.
Nice.
As Eider kind of begins working away through the bow, Scartsmander just kind of sits there, kind of cooking up some of the meat. As you sit and kind of look over, or see Eider kind of working away with it, the corpse of the poor ball twister still sitting in the middle of the camp next to where the drawings of the attack pattern of the goblins were a moment ago. Okay. As you lot kind of sit there thinking about what you want to do or what other options you'll have, Eider deep in thought, looking over the deep crystals and in contemplation about his horrible life. Scartsmander just kind of looks about you lot and goes, "So, are you lot planning to go on without me and finish up your mission as you were told, or are you going to plan to stick around here for dinner and enjoy yourselves?"
I'm ready to get this over with.
Yep, I'm ready to
Well-
get moving.
How much time do we have before daylight?
8 hours, probably, maybe more.
Are we confident we can get far in 8 hours and set up camp safely?
Well, it's
Well,
not
we
like
shouldn't be
nights
at-
last 12 hours, so we wouldn't be able to make it in time anyways, no matter what.
It's better to get started now, and then we can hit them tomorrow. And I guess around midnight, just about.
Do you think we could camp inside of your forge so we're not at risk of being ambushed?
Well, there's a worse risk there, which is that something can just pick up the aperture and just carry us off.
Well, if they carry us into the camp, makes our job easier.
Well, since we don't need to sleep,
Well,
aren't we able to
anything
just-
can carry us off. It's not just only the goblins can find it.
Well, can't we also watch the entrance or no? Is there no way to actually view?
Like, they can't force their way inside, but they can like legitimately pick it up. It only lasts for a certain amount of time, and then we could be somewhere. Like, for instance, if a giant creature ate it, and then suddenly we're inside of something's stomach.
Well, I think he was asking, like, can we see? Because this is a question we would know in the 5 weeks of downtime. Like, could we see out of the forge, or when we're in it, are we?
So
completely
long
like-
as the door was open, yeah, you can still see out of it, but in a sense, so can anything see into it.
Mhm.
Yeah, but the door
Yeah.
has to be open. Like,
Mhm.
we can't just like.
Could you like hide it within a tree?
Eider,
I know,
as
I
you
know
look,
history with trees.
as you look
The
at your
way-
heavy armor and look up at the tree that you'd have to climb.
Because to be fair, I'm almost positive Dom could probably lift you up into a tree.
It's more like the idea of like, again, it's not anchored to a place. If a plant monster just decided that they wanted to take us, we could end up like I don't know, miles, hundreds of miles away, or like.
Well, that's
in-
why I was asking if we could keep the door open and still do the stuff inside and be on just a vigilant watch. So if it does start moving, we'd be able to see it move.
I mean, yeah. You would
I
definitely
mean,
notice
do you
it.
think it would be safer to just camp outside of your forge without Scottmander's expertise in the terrain? I feel like we are far more at risk of us getting dragged hundreds of miles and dying.
I think the goblins are setting up nearby a place that's safe. Otherwise, their entire civilization would be overrun overnight.
Do you want to try to track the scouts and find their camp and have a little chat?
I think we just make camp. It'll be fine.
All right then.
Well, I don't volunteer to be the one to set up camp, and I hold no responsibility if things go wrong.
All
But
right.
Reno and I suggested a different plan.
I agree.
Solidarity.
As Dom kind of makes their point, as the four of you kind of grab up your gear and start walking into the darkness, as you slowly head into the forest, as the campfire gets further and further distant, you see a Scartsmender kind of eventually, after you guys are decent ways off, seems to be joined by a few other figures at the fire as they seem to kind of sit down and begin picking up some of the meat that was cooking over the fire as you lot disappear into the deep and thick forest. As you do, give me some listen and spot checks. Let's see what you can do,
Yay.
gentlemen. Will Eider's depression get you all killed? Or will the jelly beans save you?
Oh. That's rough.
23 spot, nice work. Ooh, listen to it's the clinking of the pimp suit, you know, very loud.
24 listen and a 23 spot.
All right. Right. Yeah, spot and listen if you wouldn't mind.
Oh, hey, we got like opposite high and low when it comes to our spot and listen and love those.
Let's see
We
what we can
round out
get.
each other's weaknesses. We're working as a group.
Right.
Are the
Ca-
lay necklaces happy?
Kaz just being good in all cases. Well, you haven't been punished yet.
13
working as a team.
spot.
Okay.
I mean, I'm lucky to have a +7 in both listen and spot.
It's true.
Got
I have
that.
a +8 in spot and still
Plus
rolled that.
one.
Oh,
10 listen.
okay.
And that is just in his own mind.
Yeah, as you lot begin to head through the forest, Dom, Kez, and Eider, as you begin to kind of keep scouting amongst the trees, Dom and Kez, you both hear as the sounds of the wind whooshing begins again, as you begin to hear the same sound of the creatures once again trying to make it create the illusion effect once more. Though it seems this time you're unaffected as you begin to kind of hear and catch this. Noticing that there is a decent amount as you count roughly around 20 to maybe 30 of these creatures seemingly hiding amongst the trees. Eider and Kez, as you look out, you both notice that they start to count the goblins as they start to almost get to the edge of the forest, beginning to try and make this illusion happen again, lining up about a good 500 or so feet, roughly about 500 feet away from you lot, as they continue their loud whooshing and try to move their fingers to wave the wind towards you lot. As you get a rough count, you do get a confirmation. There's about 20 of them that you can see, and you notice there are further shadows deeper into the forest. Though none of them seem to be getting closer, what would you like to do?
Have
Fuck
to
off
just
with
be
them
like,
jelly
"Hey,
beans."
quiet out there! We're trying to get some sleep.
What's off with them
Quiet
jelly
down,
beans?
you kids!"
If you think if you throw them at the trees, they will go for them like birds, maybe.
As you say this in Giant, you begin to hear some of the blue goblins not quietly whispering, though they think that, seemingly thinking that you lot can't hear them. They seem to speak quite loudly over the whooshing as one goes, "I think they're gonna throw something at us," and the other goes, "Awesome! they're not that bright. We should be able to take their stuff and run off with it.
Leave a bag of jelly beans conveniently, like a couple on a plate, just conveniently out.
I'm
Ned
going.
leaves
You know,
one of the eclairs that makes them like breathe fire.
because the thing is that I have a lot of these Ambrosia. Guys, I have a fucking
How-
lot of them.
How many?
I mean, they're jelly beans, but I have a lot. I got them. Like
How
I was
many?
just.
One number.
The thing is, I don't know the exact amount. I got a lot of jelly beans. Like, you know, like they're jelly beans. I just got a bunch.
Leave out a plate full nearby when we're making camp, and then unattended. Like,
God.
I'll have this for later.
What'd you say, Eider?
I'm just gonna activate my shield.
Okay. As you begin to activate, you all see as the shield begins to slightly glow, as what looks to be a almost pink translucent light begins to expand out from it, kind of disappearing around you almost as quickly as you look around.
Are we announcing that we see them, or what are we doing?
Let's just start walking. It shouldn't be. It's a barrier. It should be much harder for them to try and do anything, even if they choose to.
Quick question, DM. Has it been over an hour of travel on foot so far?
Oh, roughly, yeah, I'd say so. As you lot kind of head in.
My spell ended then.
Can I bluff like a purposeful drop of like 20 of these jelly beans?
Sure. Give me a. What are you gonna try and do?
Well, so like, you know, I'm purposely dropping it, but I'm gonna try to, you know, like, I want to play it off that it's an accent, like a bluff.
Okay.
Bluff this drop.
Do you? I assume you don't have perform actor or acting.
No, that's why I'm
If
trying to be like,
I-
Yeah, I'll
can
take a
I
bluff.
bluff my way?
If I
Alright,
trip
thanks.
him,
I'll take a
can
bluff.
I roll act or like bluff to help or something?
Let's see what he's
no.
got. Let's see what
that?
Kez has.
Okay.
That would be a 31 bluff.
Yeah, I
Oh,
don't think
okay,
you
yeah,
really
yeah,
need
yeah.
to. Oh, as Kez
Kinda
begins
funny.
to kind of like sort through his bag of items, kind of going through it as he like lightly tips over the bag of jelly beans, letting a few of the glimmering beans fall to the ground as Eider kind of keeps a serious eye out, watching the tree line and watching ahead of you lot. As the beans fall to the ground, you hear as the creatures seem to speak up, and one of them goes, "Hey, look! The ugly one dropped food!" Another one goes, "No, those are coins! Don't trust it! The squids use them!" As they continue making their whooshing sounds. So far, none of them seemingly noticing what Eider is doing. As you lot, though, continue walking through the trees, another hour kind of passes as you continue on the route. The sounds of the whooshing getting quiet as then sudden screams of ecstasy can be heard down the road behind you as a little bit of what sounds like the small blades smacking and chinging off each other, kind of carrying on the quiet night as it sounds like something is going on back there.
Oh my god, it sounds like a goblin orgy back there.
I think you just like started a civil war.
Yeah, we're starting a drug war right now.
Another hour kind of passes by as you begin to hear the horrific screams coming from down the way. As about what roughly you count as 5 distinct voices scream out horrendously, as if they similar to what Ball Twister did before he died. This kind of goes on for roughly an hour before the creature's throat seems to get hoarse and then seems to dissipate on the night sky as it almost becomes absolutely silent. As you lot finally make it to the end of your 8 hours, starting to see the light in the sky beginning to pick up, finding yourself a nice campsite off to the side, what looks to be some bushes and trees kind of set about. Someone give me a survival check for whoever's going to be picking the campsite.
Not it.
Tom, I think
I'm
you're
good
up.
at those.
All right.
I was
It's like you or Ned.
Ned's up.
definitely the best.
The druid trying to figure out where to camp, always the best. Damn,
Honestly.
all right.
Yeah.
you go.
As Ned kind of looks about and starts to lead you lot off to the side path, pointing out one of the very obvious-looking camping sites. It looks to be have a little bit of water running nearby it, a nice tree for shade, as he points out, and then points up to the trees where you see a few spine snappers kind of waiting, and as they look, or as the creatures wait on for anything that would lay below them. As Ned takes you to what looks to be kind of an area surrounded by these nasty bramble bushes that seem to be quite thick around the tree line, pointing out to a couple of the small little burrows of different what looks to be smaller creatures, and mentions that this looks to be a safer looking area, as noting the prey creatures keeping their houses nearby. As you lot kind of begin to dig up the ground, setting up to, in case you have a fire pit, setting out your gear to get yourselves kind of acquainted. Are you going to set a fire, or are you just gonna kind of sleep through the day on the in this little bramble bush?
I don't know. I don't assume we need a fire if we're gonna be sleeping over the day.
Yeah, and it's like a jungle, tropical jungle.
I would also like to use like the thorny branches and whatnot around to create kind of a barrier around us, like drag them around and everything.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the only reason why I would even want to use a fire is that if we would be able to make a smokeless fire in our situation, which I don't think we have the tools necessary to do so.
I will say the dirt's also very thick with roots and a lot of jungle life. It'd be very difficult for the digging to get through, as you can even feel the very thick tree roots in the ground.
Spider wants to punch through the dirt with his adamantine gauntlets.
Well, I thought you were going to ask him to use his spell force. I was going to be like, wait a minute.
Maybe. No, I think we could be able to keep warm enough without a fire, and we have like dry rations.
Yeah.
Yeah, I concur. I think we're good.
Okay. As you lot kind of begin to set up camp, Ned kind of pulling the brambles around as he does, helping you lot out. As you all kind of get yourselves curled up in the into your own bedrolls, the sun kind of beginning to peak over, and the 80 to 90 degree day beginning to pick up as the humidity increases. It is going to be a hot day. Thankfully, I think most of you are fire giants.
Yep.
Unthankfully, your leader is not immune to sweating, just heat. Actually, are you fully fire resistant? I forget.
Yeah, I've got like 10 fire resistance from Dragothex.
Okay, so you don't have the full 20 for the lava stuff. So yeah, but humidity won't bother you at all.
Yeah,
Thankfully.
like it's humid, but it's not hot by any means.
Still the sweating sucks, as it's still going to be, I imagine would still be a natural response of the body, though nothing, that's like a normal day, you're out working in your lawn, but as you kind of, as each of you begin to kind of fall to sleep, who is taking watch, or are you all just going to kind of sleep through the whole day?
I don't mind doing a shift. If needed. I know spellcasters need to regain slots.
I do not technically. I do it on a short or on my meditation. So.
Well, you haven't used any spell slots so you don't have to regain them yet.
Well, that too.
Because the only one who used it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll take my 8 hours and then I'll take Overwatch if you guys want to rotate for me.
Yeah. I think Does the War Wizard cloak spells recharge the next day or recharge in a long rest? Because I don't think the item description said.
It is long rest.
Okay, then I need a long rest to recharge that going into this fight, but otherwise I'm good.
Well, we have to wait till night, basically, no matter what, because we're not walking around. So it's like the 8 hours portion of it's not really a barrier.
Oh, yeah, so I don't even technically... I mean, I need a short rest to, I guess, not get exhaustion, but I don't really need to, long rest sleep. I can just relax.
Mm-hmm. So Dom is taking first watch. Kaz will take last.
Yeah, I can take first watch. I have a decent spot and listen.
Okay.
If Ned wants to go after me or whatever.
Take noon watch, I guess.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. Looks like Eider gets to sleep the full night. Hey, perks of being a leader.
Also having the only non-wisdom character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Actually, really, I just realized that too. I did not notice that till just now. Holy shit.
Yep. It's a party of all wisdom focused minus Eider.
Oh, interesting. Okay, good timing, Eider. You should have picked a wisdom-based character. Shame on you. But no worries, as Eider kind of knowingly getting to enjoy the fact that his party gives him the perk of sleeping through the night without much of a concern. Eider kind of falls quickly to sleep as he begins to relax. As the rest of you kind of find yourselves almost seemingly in the same boat, as Dom kind of takes up the first watch. Dom, give me a spot and listen check.
Yay. Let me double check something just to make sure. There wasn't anything special I got for this. No, I think. Yeah, okay. So spot and listen, you said?
Correct.
Okay. Listen. That is a 21 listen and a 18 spot.
Okay. As over your 4 hours of kind of sitting there relaxing, kind of basking in the sunlight and the warmth, you kind of, as you watch out amongst the bramble, kind of just keeping your body low enough to where it'd be hard to see, but just high enough to where you can kind of look over it and look through in the certain spots. You begin to hear about hour 2 of your watch the sounds of a few very loud and angry goblins seemingly walking down the road that you were just on, even from here being able to kind of see it. As you notice one of the blue goblins, his skin looking like it's been picked at and shredded, as if he's been tearing at as he walks by, his entire body slightly shaking as he pulls one of his fingers off and starts to chew on it. Looking about, you hear as he mutters not quietly, but seems to continuously do so as he walks on, going, "More beans. I need more beans. Where are those filthy things? I need their beans."
I think. Oh, is the camp hidden? Like they don't seem to notice us off to the side?
It does. The creature does not. From what you can tell, it just continues down the road path.
I think. Hearing this, Dom's not saying anything out loud, and I'm not making any movement. Like I assume I'm behind a tree to kind of blend into the shadow of the dense underbrush, just watching through the foliage. And I think Dom thinks to himself, I wonder if we could just turn all of Krakenmaw's men against him if we just feed them all beans, and then just watches. And if they start to get close and they seem to notice the camp, I'll alert the party and get ready to fight. But I'm just gonna remain quiet and still.
Okay. Yeah, give me a hide check real quick.
I would say let me check what my size modifier does to
minus
that.
-2 or -4, I think.
I think huge is -4. Size categories 2.5. Unless it's just move silently. I can't remember if it's both or one.
No, it's both, because it's a lot harder to hide as you get larger.
Huge is -8 to hide. It isn't a -8 to move silently though.
Oh, there you go.
I don't think. So I can still move quiet, but the second you see me. So let me find my hide modifier.
No, it's it's much harder to because you have certain apex predators that move very quietly, but they're fucking big, so they're really easy to see.
That's the logic with Dom is I can quietly get into places, but the second visual stuff comes into play now, unless it's darkness, I'm kind of fucked.
Dom being Eider's opposite and the Bane. He can move silently with that massive figure easily spotted. What? That one?
Yeah, which I will say, my hide modifier is a +6, so it's only a -2, which means with a 1, it's only a -1 to hide.
As you kind of stand behind the tree watching on, the creature, the goblin seems to kind of pass by, not really noticing you as the creature continues on down the road. My hide. Yeah, I expected that. As the creature continues past, another hour goes by, Dom, as you look about, and you notice you seem to feel like you're being watched by something as you look about the forest, though nothing catches your attention as you continue to look. As you look about, another hour kind of passes, and as it does, nothing seems to happen. As you kind of head back into the camp, crawling back in to go waken Ned as you kind of nudge him. Nothing seems to have gone amiss as you look about the group. They all look to be fine.
I will look to Ned like once he's been roused awake and has kind of woken up some, and look at him and go, "You might want to check the area with ice or something. Goblins walk past and didn't seem to notice, but I have a sense of being watched, and I fear something is nearby."
I will definitely keep an eye out.
And I think Dom will, because I technically do need to sleep for a short rest.
Yep,
but
you have to sleep 4 hours, or 2 hours.
So Dom will get settled in to have his 4 hours, but I will be like, I'm so huge, I don't know if it's better for me to be in the center of the camp or the outside, so I draw less attention to the party.
You kind of lay down into the bramble and begin to try and find yourself a comfortable position without bumping the others. To be fair, Dom, as you look about, Kez, Ned, and yourself are so big, there's not really any way you're not going to be naturally spotted. Any creature that has any capability of hunting and ambushing is going to see you. As you kind of realize, Eider kind of seemed to accept that factor as soon as you headed into this jungle.
Yeah. I'm gonna, just get settled down with, my back to something, so there's, they can only really approach me from the front or maybe the sides.
Okay.
Just for a little extra protection, have my back against a rock or a tree. And I think Dom will use, a swift action, I guess, to, extend the claws on his gauntlets just to have them ready.
Okay.
And then we'll, hunker down to sleep. So I'm just prepared to, if I suddenly am attacked, I can just swing and, get someone.
Gotcha. Alright, Ned, as you are kind of roused awake, as Dom kind of tells you this a little bit and then kind of crawls off to the other side of the camp to find a cozy spot to set in. You're left in the blazing sun as it hits around 105 degrees around roughly now 11-ish, noonish in the day.
I will post up in my little watch spot.
Alright, as you kind of get next to one of the trees and start to look out and about, give me a spot and listen check.
That's spot.
Nice. Let's see what you get. Alright.
And that's less.
Ned.
As you kind of watch on Ned, a few hours, about an hour goes by as you see a goblin, what looks to be a normal blue goblin, walking down the road. As he kind of suddenly stops about 50 feet from your camp over by the road. He seems to kind of look around for a moment, holding a large spear with what looks to be one of those deep crystals at the end of it. As he turns back and shouts in common and goes, "All right, bring the traitors up. We're going to kill them here." As a few, you begin to hear and notice the ground kind of slightly vibrating as about 7 goblins begin to kind of march down with what looks to be this thick crystal gemstone plate kind of on their chests, all of them kind of surrounding a single target as you see what looks to be a horrific little goblin that has been picking at its skin and tearing chunks off itself, its eyeballs slightly hanging out of the socket as it looks around, jittering and looking like it's trying to push past the guards every once in a while as they jam or elbow it back into the center of them.
I'll just keep watching.
Okay. As you do, you watch as they kind of come to a stop in front of the one that was commanding, as the creature kind of looks back and goes, "All right, kill the little maw." as the men, or as all the blue goblins in their gemstone armor kind of turn and pull out what looks to be blades made of solid platinum, and bring them down hard on the goblin as all 7 blades strike at once. The goblin, immediately just torn to shreds as it does, gives out a quaking screech as for a moment before the body goes silent and drops. The one that seems to be in charge kind of looks over towards where you're standing, Ned, seemingly as if he was looking right at you, and then looks back across the forest as if scanning still, and then turns and says in common once again, goes, "All right, leave it here." And then as they begin to turn and start to march off back down the road in the direction you guys are going.
Interesting.
So another hour kind of passes. Nothing seems to happen. On your 3rd hour, still nothing. On the 4th hour, you see what looks to be a small rabbit-like creature with a single unicorn-like horn kind of hop past on the road, seemingly going into the forest on the other side and vanishing amongst the shrubbery. You get a sense that was a good sign of good luck, Ned, as you watch that and see that the creature kind of head off into the forest, recognizing what is a small almirage.
Just give a little smile towards it.
As you smile towards the creature as it disappears into the forest, as you find your watch kind of coming to an end, as looking out in the street or out onto the main road, nothing seemingly happening. As Kez lays off to one side, completely out cold.
I'll attempt to awaken Kez.
Yeah. As you walk over and kind of nudge him, seeing Kez seems to almost come awake immediately as his eyes immediately kind of open up as if he was never sleeping. He kind of coolly looks at you as Kez kind of adjust your eyes to the brightness. It's 108 degrees and humid as balls, mate. It is not comfortable for a normal person.
Reminds me of home.
Yeah, as you feel the reminder of your volcanic homeland, it is a nice and balmy weather.
Man, it's been a while since I've been in the Fire Giant territories, and this really does bring me back.
When you post up out there, don't mind the dead goblin. I think it ate one of your beans, and they brought it down here to assassinate it.
Oh no! I give a side-eye smirk and break the 4th wall.
Ned, as
yeah.
you say this, as Kez just turns off to the side of you and just seems to give this strange smirk to nothing as you look at him. Clerics are weird, man.
Well, I don't know what that was about. I'm gonna go lay down, and then we'll just walk away.
Have a good night, Ned. Or a good day.
I feel like I'm gonna be stabbed in my sleep now, but that's besides the point.
Don't worry, Ned. If you do, it won't be because of me.
As Kez kind of gets up and starts to head over towards one of the trees to start watching and looking out towards the road and all around the camp. Alright, as Ned kind of finds his sleeping spot again, curling up next to Ice, who's been keeping it, warm, and seems to be just radiating heat as they enjoy basking in the sun. As Kez, you find yourself in the nice tree stump to sit on and kind of look out onto the road. Give me a spot and listen. See what you got.
We have a 17 spot.
Okay.
And a 20 listen.
Okay. As you kind of look about watching, you do see what looks to be a young-looking blue goblin kind of walking up the main road from where you're heading. As you look to the creature kind of heading down, seems to walk over towards, as you see the corpse in the center of the road, almost within the first hour of your watch. And noticing this creature walk up to the corpse, looking down on it, sitting, and kind of placing what looks to be a lesmium flower kind of on top of the corpse and beginning to cry lightly as it does. The creature seems to kind of just stare down, say a couple words that it murmurs that you don't quite catch, as it then stands up, looks about side to side, and begins to continue heading down the road whence you lot had just come up. As you kind of continue watching, listening for anything, you do see as a large-looking blood-like or like albino-looking ape kind of swings on one of the trees near your camp as you look over. As seeing this 8-foot-tall gorilla-like creature with albino white hair and a bright pink chest, kind of smacking its chest and roaring out as it jumps from a tree to tree, seems to look down at you, sniffs the air, looks over kind of at Ned, and then starts to kind of pound its chest, and then begins to climb away. A few others in the next hour seem to also appear as the creatures seem to begin to circle around your camp for a second. A few of the younger ones kind of getting quite close, within about 10 feet of the camp from the trees above, sniffing at the air, smiling, and then turning back to run back to their parents, who seem to take that as a sense to not get closer, as many of them begin to back up even more. Eventually, around your 4th hour, or around halfway through it, you start to see as they lose interest, seeing you lot as not really doing anything, and begin to kind of climb off and head back into the forest. As your 4th hour kind of wraps up, Kez, nothing seems to kind of catch your attention otherwise, as you kind of look at the rest of the party, who seem to be mostly either waking up or beginning to or who have already kind of woken up and been relaxing overall.
All right, I assume the sun is set and shit like that.
As you look up, the sun is setting, and you can see, as it is starting to get dark, the sounds of some howling creature in the distance kind of making itself known, sounding almost like a creepy and very psionic-like rooster of sorts, as it seems to intelligently cock-a-doodle-doo, as you will. What that sounds like, I'll leave that to your own imagination.
Like opera.
And I know Kez didn't hear it, but during Ned's watch, didn't we hear that the goblin that was executed was the Little Maw?
That is the name they declared, yes.
And I believe
Oh,
that was
that
one of the warriors, right?
That's what
I think that was-
Ball Twister said, yep.
Wasn't that also Kraken Maw's son, or no?
I mean, probably.
Hey, they don't know what got him killed. Just offer him a jelly bean.
I wouldn't be surprised that they might know. I have an inkling idea because Little Maw was like, "I need the beads." Nah,
Didn't say jelly. He said beans.
You guys want some jellies?
All right,
Yeah.
the jelly bean plan isn't gonna work. Can we move on this one?
Well, what are you talking
We
about?
can still, if we throw it down, I bet you like a couple of the goblins
Okay,
are gonna want
how
to
many
try it.
nat 20s do you think is gonna take for this plan to work? If it's more than 2, it's not gonna work.
No,
don't
I
think so.
think it depends on how low Royce rolls on wisdom or intelligence for the goblins to resist. They're goblins. If you offer them treats, it's their
Like, and
instinct. They want to eat the food.
They're like crows,
Also,
you know? It's like
I will say,
shiny
out of
and-
character, Ball Twister talked about not eating for an entire day until we gave him a bean. I'm willing to bet a lot of the non-warrior ones are starving and will eat about anything, and then go feral and attack each other.
So you're just like describing a blatantly evil act at this point to just take the
Hey,
citizenry,
Insight
have
roll.
them horrifically
I know, I'm
addicted.
hoping we can convince the warriors, but I'm saying the warriors won't eat it. I think we have to worry about the civilians rushing in.
As Dom kind of lays out this plan, you get the sense Dom has very much a giant mentality. If you're not a giant, you aren't a species
No,
of.
this is a sapphire fish. Dom's Zoikina. Well, I think Dom would suggest it still being feasible. But yeah, I think Dom would confess to on his watch he saw the after effects of it and would warn the party of like the goblins who survived the beings being quite like feral and aggressive, and it could be used to turn the goblins against each other, but they might just be more of a threat to us if they
You
turn
see,
on us.
For
That
me,
sounds
the
blatantly
the,
evil.
the scouts are enemy combatants. The normal citizenry aren't.
Even the scouts are a gray area because they seem to be being conscripted.
I mean, that's just war.
I mean, but you don't have to fuck with them. They seemingly are nearly inconsequential. And, like, we could just scare the shit out of them and they will stay out of it.
Listen, I don't want to hear morality. You're wearing the skin of an also sentient race, so.
Yeah.
So let's move on.
I don't know. I mean, we could try to intimidate them, but I feel like if Krakenmaw tells the warriors to fight with him, we will be fighting like a 20 or 30 v us, and potentially the scouts might get involved. So I don't know how successfully we'll just be like, don't fight.
Well, we
if
know
we're
what the
challenging...
beings can do to at least their warriors and below. That could be our last chance, but let's see if we can try to get this done diplomatically.
If we are directly challenging his authority as leader, then the peasant, he by definition wants the peasants to stay out of that. Otherwise, he hands power over to the peasants.
Yeah, definitely. Just, be prepared that if they start swarming us, we just throw out beans and see what happens. Be gone!
So, wait, I'm a friend here, have a bean. Won't you take a pulse in his hand?
Oh,
yes!
All right. We're going to take a quick second. We'll be back in a moment. Real quick for those watching at home. We return...
Second worst, I'd argue, but that's okay.
That's true. Second worst is true. We return back as we took a few minute break to confirm a few things. As you lot kind of wake in the shadows coming down, Dom, you said you wanted to investigate the jelly beans before you all headed out.
Well, I want to look at one, have Kez look one over, maybe carefully have cut it open, not near any cuts or near my mouth, and just see if I can identify what substances are in this thing.
Yeah, no worries. All right, give me a craft or rather profession poison maker, and then for Kez, give me, let's just call it a D20 plus your dex.
A D20 plus my dex.
Is the smell of the bean gonna give you withdrawal?
No, not in the slightest. You were just very adamant.
No.
Yeah.
The science project.
Exactly.
All right.
You were just adamant on.
Plus my dex, so that will be a 16.
Okay.
Well, I got a really bad roll. I got a 7.
Well, the good news is Kez was more than happy to kind of hold it up with his very heavy metal gauntleted hand and holding the jelly bean for you as you inspect it, kind of poking at with your knife. As you kind of start to cut it open, looking inside, you watch as the strange fluid flows out of it. It looks to be the same fluid as you kind of look at it as the liquid that was flowing all throughout the fountains and waterways of Zebral's hive city, that people seem to just walk up and drink, and then suddenly be left in a state of ecstasy and happiness. As you kind of look at it, kind of messing around with it, taking some of it and poking one of the bugs with it as you put some on your knife. The effect doesn't seem to do anything to the bug. It seems unbothered, but as one of the creatures seems to land on it, drinking it straight from Kez's palm, the creature seems to almost instantly explode as the bug juices kind of go everywhere upon Kez's hand.
So what I'm seeing is large enough creatures that can metabolize this experience intense ecstasy but live. But the smaller the creature is, the high dose simply... I don't know what it is other than it overwhelms their body so quickly that small enough they explode. Goblin size, their body briefly shuts down and chance they die. I don't know what the fuck this is in this, by the way, but don't drink the water in Zebral's lands, is what I'm seeing.
I will note again, Dom, that you did see Kez eat 5 of these things.
I've already determined that Kez is either big enough to be somewhat resistant to the effects, or is already addicted, or this is like a cancerous thing where in 20 years we're gonna realize like he got something from this and is fucked. But like at this point, the damage has already been done. Dom is not eating any of these.
Okay. But yeah,
I'm determined.
as you look it over, kind of figuring that out, you realize it is not going to go well on a blow dart. Also, I've been PM something real quick. Let me double check.
Yeah. Ned, you could maybe fire this into someone's mouth with good aim, but I don't think this will explode on impact, sadly.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't want that close to my mouth.
That is so smart, Ned. Just don't breathe in. Don't suck in.
Oh God. Give me a second. I think something. Did I hear something smack my door? No. Okay. As I apologize. I got PM something. Okay. Just making sure. As you kind of look it over, though, coming to the determination that this stuff has to be ingested, and looking over Kez, it doesn't seem like Kez has any signs of addiction or any sort of cancerous effects, as you called it. But as you look at the rest, Eider seems to seem to keep away from the material, not looking to at all interested in it. But with that, as you look about, what would you like to do? Are you gonna head straight toward continue heading straight north?
Yeah, that's my plan at least, unless somebody else has something different they'd like to propose at this point.
I don't think we can pretend to be captives, so I think your plan to challenge him is the best we got, unless we have a way to sneak in.
We can try and sneak in, but it's going to be piecemeal, and I think we have a better chance of just standing and fighting than getting potentially split up and just, cut to ribbons.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That said, I do have my shield, so that should probably help out a good deal with just getting through the camp.
As Eider continues to as a true sentinel, bear his shield in front of him as the gemstone in the center kind of glows a bright or a daintily lit purple. All right. Well, with no other proposals, as the rest of you kind of look about each other and no one kind of bring anything up, continuing on as you hear a distant roar in the south of something that almost sounds like a dragon as someone decides to race across the track with a giant truck.
They must prove how small their penis is.
It was jacked up at least 2 feet.
Damn, that's a small one. Oh my god. That's legendary, how tiny it is.
As the four of you, though, including I, still wrapped around Ned, head along the road. Are you just going to head down the center road, kind of not worrying too much about any stealth at this point?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I feel like the more audacious, the more, like, we're just kind of basically putting our metaphorical dick in his face, the more he has to answer this personally.
Hey, as small as that dick may be in Kez's situation, you know what? I agree. Alright. As you lot continue down the road, are you just going a single line or just kind of comfortably marching together?
Definitely trying to keep everyone within the 30-foot radius of my shield.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I
you all
assume
surrounding
together.
Eider. Yep. Kez
With
slightly to the
Vlad.
front, I imagine. Dom and Ned off to the either side of Eider. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. As you lot continue going, heading forward, those who can see, meaning the tall folk, please give me a spot and listen. Eider, you are welcome to join in. You do not have to, though. As I realize you have 3 wisdom-based characters now finally clicking in my head.
Yeah, it's like I roll for the novelty of it. I'm
Yeah,
not
no.
like counting on me getting
Well-
the information.
Oh, don't even have to
I
now,
20
Ned.
for a 27 on my listen, and then I nat 1 for a 9 on my spot.
Nice, Ned.
The duality of man.
Ned can hear everything, but man, he is so focused on it, he closes his eyes.
I just start looking around like, do y'all hear that voice in the sky?
25 listen and
Nice.
a 22 spot.
Okay, nice success. All right, got you. And Domnander.
I got a 23 listen, and then my spot is a also 23. Damn.
All right, so the only people who actually fail in this situation are Ned's spot check and Eider's listen. As you start to notice, continuing down the road, you are definitely being watched. However, finally you do notice these goblins, while blue-skinned, many of them seem to almost kind of glimmer in the distance around the road as their crystal armor kind of catches the moonlight. Though they don't make whooshing noises or seem to make any sounds as they just watch through their gemstone helmets, their eyes glowing a slightly purplish color as they kind of glimmer underneath the crystal. None of them, though, moving to seemingly come after you. For the crit on the listen, though, as you all catch about 10, roughly 10 on each side at first that you manage to notice, starting to notice roughly 20 afterwards. As Ned, you hear one of the warriors speak up and go, "How long are we supposed to stand here?" As another replies and goes, "As long as we can make them look like there's a ton of us in the forest ready to kill them. We can't have them running now." As they kind of stay quiet, watching and standing out into the forest.
So they're making it look like there's more of them?
Yes. As the rest of you start to notice, counting, there looks to be almost about 20 or so deep of these creatures kind of going all the way back into the forest. Though the creatures even further back seem to not move at all.
I will, in giant, Ned will go. It sounds like at least some of them are an illusion. There's not as many as we can see.
They don't. Are they trying to scare us away or herd us towards the camp?
Well, he said something about we don't want them to run now.
They probably think we are easy food, I'm assuming.
We're just proud enough to walk into camp. We're scared enough that if we don't call their bluff, that they'll collapse on us.
Mm-hmm. Either way, if there's not actually 20 of them, then the plan gets a little bit easier.
As you start kind of looking amongst them, go ahead, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no! It's correct me if I'm wrong. Like there are actually 20 of them. They're just not more
Yes,
than 20.
you can see 20 of them, but as they get, and then they're 20 deep further in, as you can see. So I mean, there's a lot of these what looks to be perfectly standing still soldiers.
I thought it was 20
in the back
some
line.
Of those weren't moving.
No,
Okay.
you only
20
notice
of them.
20 physical ones that are moving. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, these guys straight up like made like stick men.
So still annoying, but there's not like secretly 50.
Mm-hmm. Correct. As you kind of continue walking down the street, you hear one of them again go, speaking up a little louder, to where more of you hear this as one goes, "Hey, the pretty one seems to have the same armor as that one we ate. You think this is a retribution?" And another goes, "I don't think they're smart enough to know what retribution means." As they continue to stand there watching you lot, kind of trying to be as menacing as they can.
Something divine punishment.
Yes, murmuring under his breath as he looks about, irritated. As you continue down the road, another few hours.
Ned in common will just go, I can't wait till we make up for past failures.
You know what?
Man, don't you also just enjoy getting
Retribution.
back to those who wrong you?
You all hear the creatures go in common and go, "I knew it! They got chased off by those Murloc creatures. They are weak." As the guards lightly giggle under their helmets as you continue walking. As you another few hours pass as around the point where the moon is high in the sky, almost dead center above you as you look on, as you see the castle come into almost a perfect sight. The road beginning to clear, the thick forest up to it seemingly pushed back by what looks to be actual lumberjacks or individuals who understood what it means to deal with a stronghold. As you get closer, noticing the forest is cut back from the broken down walls, what looks to be an ancient fortress of some sort, though only about 2 miles in length, and what looks to be about roughly the same in depth. This building, or the stronghold in air quotes, looks to be more fallen stones that roughly kind of make up some chunks of wall and a few of the towers. Much of this stronghold only being about 40 feet in height as you look at the walls at the tallest point where it hasn't collapsed. Inside, even from here, you all can see what looks to be a large camp that seems to dominate the center of this open grassy field. A small, looks to be trickling river running through the center of the stronghold, almost perfectly cutting the camp in half as you look on. On the sides of the fortress, you can see what looks to be, even now, plowed fields that have something growing out of them, almost going on for a few miles off down the coast, as it looks like there are many little small houses and almost dens kind of built into the hillside around the farmland. As you look on, the castle itself seems to have 2 main entry points from what you can tell from here. The one that you're standing or coming up on seems to be focused towards the road, seemingly having what looks to be a large looking and impressive goblin that's about roughly 4'5", a long palladium, what looks to be sword at his hip, and a large great axe made of platinum kind of sitting on his back. His armor kind of glimmering of gemstones as you recognize the deep crystals as almost kind of attached onto himself. As you look on, a few other troops kind of seem to seem to be dressed similar to him, standing at the checkpoint, counting about 5 others in total. Looking further to the sides of where they stand looks to be roughly a large wooden reinforcement from rough hewn trees that have been kind of cut and stacked onto each other as best they could. Looks like as well as this similar design is repeated at the back of the fortress, where you can see what looks to be another large gate to enter into it. As you look on, though, the creatures kind of watch and wait, seemingly staring at you as you walk down the main road.
We're here for Krakenjaw.
The lieutenant kind of seems to clearly identify himself, some plumage on his helmet of what looks to be some sort of brightly colored bird kind of decorating the top of it, his battle axe seemingly a mark of office as he steps forward, still standing a little bit taller than the rest as he looks at you and goes, "Ain't no Kraken's jaw here."
Who's your leader?
"You insult our leader by not even remembering his name."
We came to find him. We heard he had the smallest forehead and the most flaccid cock of all goblins.
Ned leans down to Eider. "It was Maul."
You dare!" As the goblin kind of gets blustery and like puffs his chest out, still not drawing his weapon, as he looks at you a lot and goes, "You dare insult our ruler, our chief! You'll be answered with this." As he looks back at one of the goblins dressed in armor that looks to be a little bit duller and shouts in something in goblin, roughly for what you get in primitive to be, "You go and get the one who is glorious and beats all and bring him here." As the young goblin runs. Good.
Ned will yell out, "Also, make sure your leader knows that Eider 27," and then starts thrusting.
Give me a bluff check, Ned.
Don notches sagely.
God damn it.
I can just imagine if you roll slow, just Ned is just unable to actually.
Oh my god!
That's awesome.
Brother can't even thrust.
As
Dude,
Ned
falls
tries his best to repeat the action, he does the almost
He starts
perfectly.
twerking.
I
As
was gonna say he actually throws it back.
No, as he perfectly starts thrusting, almost as identical to the individual, but something about it just looks off as the goblin lieutenant looks over at Eider and goes, You're an illithid?
No, but I am a friend of the hive.
Looks at you, looks at Ned, and kind of stands a little bit, still lowers his chest a little bit as he backs a step back and kind of looks at you and goes, Yeah, right. Your friend's just doing one of those mating rituals saying that you're married to the dragon that runs the hive. Uh-huh. As he looks back at the other goblins who are just horrified in shock and worry.
Ned is also just shocked. I really don't understand this scale.
As the goblin goes running into the camp, rushing off, you hear an almost angry goblins kind of roaring out as many of them seem to respond to it. Some in excitement, some seeming in surprise, as the camp the village comes to life as many goblins begin to rush towards the gateway, looking out and looking at you lot, kind of watching, seeing what is going on. Many of them just dressed in what looks to be simple leathers, some carrying what looks to be farmers' tools, a few pitchforks, some what looks to be pickaxes and axes here and there, many of them being made of that deep crystal gemstone material. Go ahead, Dom.
Oh, I just don't like the numbers.
As you roughly count between a lot of you, roughly seeing around almost 400 goblins kind of begin to almost push up on this gate and trying to shove through, looking a path beginning to clear through this small horde as they begin to try or begin to separate as something walks through. A creature that stands a mighty 4'8" comes marching through the crowd. As his head bounces above almost all of the other goblins, he comes out proudly, big chest out, a heavy-looking, what looks to be kraken leather jerkin on, a large-looking staff that has the mouth of a baby kraken kind of put on the end of it. What looks to be a blue aquamarine gemstone at the center, slightly floating over it. At his hip, a long dagger that seems to be kind of twisted and purplish in color. The sheath of it being made of black leather and having what looks to be a purple gemstone at the tip of it, or at the hilt. As he comes marching through, standing proudly as his lieutenants one of his other lieutenant comes up behind him, standing about 4'5" himself, looking almost identically armored as the other that stood before you. Out walks Kraken's Maw as his sigil stands proudly behind him, a flag kind of brought down over the gate as it's dropped, a rough design of what looks to be a giant orange kraken looking down at you. As he kind of steps out and looks at the lot of you, he goes and bellows in common, "Which one of you dares to call my forehead small?"
I just raise my hand. It's I do. Also, you look like a cunt.
Looks at you and looks over at one of the lieutenants and kind of whispers something, and the other lieutenant whispers something back and goes, "I am not a fish!"
You look like it. You got the lips for it.
How dare you!
I dare a lot.
You screw a dragon that lays with those brain-like creatures, and you come in here declaring my thrust weak. I challenge you. Bring forth your champion, or die on my blade yourself.
No, I just kind of start walking forward.
Yeah, I mean, I assume Eider's got this in the bag, and if he doesn't, Dom's ready to jump in at any point.
I know that Ned wasn't able to. I mean, he got that natty one with the thrusts. Do you mind if I throw a little thrust game in there?
What are you gonna try and do? What are you trying to imply here?
that Eider's actually even more powerful. I want to do better than his bluff.
Sure, yeah.
Than Ned's bluff.
Did you
As you
gonna
kinda
raise my 27?
Alright, let's see what you got.
I'm gonna try.
That nat 0 for a bluff is the best one.
Listen,
Dude, Ned is just too pure.
Yes, truly.
He doesn't know how
listen,
it works.
I want to try better than a 0.
Alright, let's see what you got, Kez. Let's see what you got.
I
Okay.
really hope you somehow get a -1.
So that is a 33.
And as Kez kind of lightly steps for patting Ned on the shoulder as Ned tries to figure out the thrusting thing, trying to see what he did wrong.
Start thrusting 1,000,000 miles an hour.
As Kez just goes at it, rushing forward, and you see Eider as Kraken's Maw's face kind of twists as he lifts his helm and looks at you and looks at someone behind you, and then looks back at you and goes, "Wait, you beat the dragon." And he looks at Eider and kind of like puts down his staff and kind of lays it on the ground, putting his hands up. He goes, "I could not defeat that dragon in my wildest dreams. I know my capabilities. If you are this strong, Short One, then I understand. I did not know that your people got stronger the shorter they get," as he looks over at Kez, Dom, and Ned, and then looks back at you and goes, I apologize, great warrior. We mean no offense."
I was just gonna like think for a moment. Can you read me back what the exact wording of like the Zebril mission is?
Yeah. Let me pull it up exactly.
Because like I'm like 80% sure it's Zebril's still in charge.
Yes.
And,
So
like,
here it is. Your quest to prepare you prior to meeting with old Sir Sparkly shall be to subjugate and bring back the bodies, alive or dead, of the goblins of the north of my land, or to the north of my lands. If you can do so, I shall provide you with a reward that shall help you with your endeavors, and I will post that exactly.
To come with us because you've won and you're in charge now, and they follow us down there. It's alive.
all right, fuck it, we're going with it. I just kind of like just solemnly nod and say,
Would you
"Good.
Would you like to
Prepare
whisper
your people.
in my...
You're coming with us."
Looks at you. Looks at Kez, who's still like thrusting into the air, making this sound whooshing.
Tom's gonna like cross his arms behind Eider and look like extra tall.
The creature looks down at Eider, looks over Eider and nods and goes, "Yes, Short One, we understand." As he turns back and says something in Goblin to the rough account of, "We will follow the God Warrior of Shortness. Beware, his people get more powerful the more smaller they become. And he is one of the Dark Tall One." As you see the goblins look on with fear in their eyes, as many of them kind of like look on, you hear a collective surprise almost whoosh come out of them as they kind of like begin to rush off, collecting their items. Takes about another hour or so as the goblin camp begins to kind of break up, collecting their stuff. Many of the goblins from the country kind of coming in and helping and assisting as you get what you realize is a clan of almost 800 goblins.
Gotcha. I like have them like gather around, and I guess I like try and reach out to Zebril to like have them like teleported. Otherwise, this is gonna be a bitch of a walk back home with 800 goblins in tow.
Yeah.
Trail of Tears, here we come.
No shit.
I mean, yeah, they might die to the creatures on the way, but I guess
They will
dead or
die.
alive.
As you
Hey, we could bring the dead bodies with us.
As you reach out, speaking in your mind, either calling for Zebril, you hear almost as a booming voice comes over your head. As all of you kind of suddenly find yourself standing in this gorgeous throne room, the goblins standing around you, many of them wearing what look to be shackles of platinum already around them. The creatures, their armor completely removed as they are left bare with nothing but their small cloths to cover them. Many of them looking on in fear and concern as you lot find yourself in this glorious throne room of platinum and beautiful marble carvings and design all around. Paintings of Lord Z in his numerous forms and the glorious tales of what they've accomplished as he sits on his throne looking down at you, smiling a happy and glorious smile as he looks at you all and goes, I have invested in the right party, it seems, this time. As that is where we're going to end session today. As the party is given an option of what they wish to ask for for the completion of their quest in such a glorious manner. We will end here today as they think about what they would like to ask, either as individuals or as a group, as they take their time to rest before their next mission. We thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed, and we will see you next time, just on the same certainty that Kez's dick is still that small.